Go!
3, 2, 1, Ghostface. Hey, everybody. Welcome to 3, 2, 1, Ghost. I'm your host, as always, with a silent G, Kyle. And as y'all know, you can't have a bona fide Halloween without your Jamie Lee. So, as always, I'm joined by my pal, my co-host face, Natalie. How are you? And can you believe it's been another 11 years?
I'm doing fantastic, but the age is starting to catch up to me. These decades just going by so quickly.
I know. I thought it was new decade, new rules last time. Like, so what is it? Is it just
You have to wait to find out.
I just feel like the older I get, the decades keep coming, the rules keep coming, and they just hit me faster and harder each time. So
Yeah.
here we are, y'all. We are talking about 2022's Scream, which Scream 5, everybody.
Uh-huh.
They even make a reference to that of like, naming something like just like what the original was again.
Yeah, it's
And
Stab 8. Stab 8, they say they just named Stab. And they're like, why
right,
wouldn't we
right.
just name it Stab 8? So shame on them for making a joke about something that actually is really annoying that they could have easily avoided.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I get it. They were like, well, maybe doing Scream 4 11 years later and then doing Scream 5 11 years after that. People are like, dude, we're going to watch a fifth movie and something that's blah, 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 blah. I don't know. Um, dang. Also, rest in peace, Wes Craven.
Oh,
This movie is
yeah.
dedicated to him, and it's our first that is not directed by our boy Wes Craven, instead
Mhm.
directed by Matt Benatelli Olpin and Tyler Gillette, who make up Radio Silence. Um, they did a bit in VHS, which was good. And then also, I mean, the thing I know them for, and also, by the way, we did an episode on this back in like October of 23. They directed a movie called Ready or Not, which
It's great.
I pretty sure I gave that one 5 boos, didn't I? That was
I
a
think you
5 boo for
did.
me.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a 5 boo for you.
God, it might be my favorite horror comedy. And also probably my favorite horror film in the last 15 years, easy.
Wow, that's
Um,
high. That's high praise.
high
You all
fucking
should
praise.
you all should listen to our episode on it to find out why.
Yeah, absolutely. The movie's fucking perfect. And I hear they're getting a sequel, which I am
Yeah,
not stoked on because the movie is just perfect on its own. I don't
it's
think we need anything
perfect.
else. So,
Yeah. Will you watch it though?
yeah, of course I will.
Yeah. Okay.
So, when I heard that these guys were going to be making Scream, I was like, fuck yeah. Like, this is great. Like, I
Hmm.
mean, you have the comedic elements of these movies, even though like I don't think the comedy is leaned into as hard as it is in this movie compared to the others. But the
Hmm.
I think Radio Silence demonstrates that like they can be a little funny, they can be a little spooky, be a little suspenseful. So it's a good fit. And honestly, I don't know. I think just getting someone, people with like that sort of cred, rather than some just any dumb asshole to direct this movie, I mean, I think shows some good faith that,
Yeah.
I think they wanted this to be good. So I don't know. What do you think about Radio Silence doing this?
I was very excited too because I also am a big fan of Ready or Not. Maybe not as much as you are, but just because you're like you gave it 5 boos. I think I gave it 4 boos. But I do really love it. And I agree. I think they do a really good job of combining horror and comedy. I've listened to a couple of interviews with them, and they seem to have a lot of like respect and fandom for Scream, which I think is really important for a franchise like this. And I think they did amazing. And the writers too.
Yeah, James Vanderbilt and Guy Busick. Vanderbilt, his main thing was he wrote Zodiac, the 2007
Mm,
movie. Did you see that?
I've only seen that once, and I don't remember it at all. Do you?
Yeah, it's one of those movies that like it's not a horror movie per se, but has like
Yeah.
very like horror type scenes, in it.
Yeah. Kind
So
of like maybe this is a bad example, but I've always felt that way about Silence of the Lambs.
you got a good cast. I mean, you've got Robert Downey Jr., Jake Gyllenhaal, um, who's in another like pseudo type of horror movie called Nightcrawler, which kicks all sorts of ass.
Oh yeah.
Shit's so good. And also Elias Koteas, who played Casey Jones in the Ninja Turtles movies.
Oh
I'm
yeah, I love him.
always bringing up Ninja Turtles alum.
Oh my gosh, I thought he was so hot.
He's in Zodiac. Also, John Carroll Lynch, from The Invitation.
Yes.
He's the fucking Zodiac killer, or at least they hint at he was the Zodiac killer, which
Of course
tracks.
he is, because he's so creepy. He's so good at being creepy.
So y'all don't have to watch Zodiac anymore.
There it
I
is. There
spoiled
it
it for you.
is.
Yeah.
Hope you enjoyed our episode on Zodiac.
Yeah. And then, I mean, these guys like too, yeah, it's like, you have a writing team that is not Kevin Williamson, that is not Aaron Kruger. And I think they ultimately do a serviceable job. I mean, we'll talk through it as it goes.
Hmm.
Um, I don't think anybody feels necessarily that this is like the greatest Scream movie ever, but I don't think anyone's thinking like this is the worst. Cough, Scream 3, cough.
I don't think so either. I actually feel like this has a really good balance considering you had Scream 4. I think I mentioned this. I thought they did a great job of like incorporating the new cast and getting to know them along with the legacy characters. I actually don't think this film does as good of a job as that, but they also were trying to push like Gail, Dewey, and Sydney are not like in this movie. Like they're trying, or like in this movie as much. They're trying to introduce these new characters and really sell them to you. But you have a big group of characters, and I do feel like, not to compare, but I am. Scream 4 does a better job at getting to know every single of these disposable characters, really, because a lot of them get killed. Whereas this one, like a lot of these characters survive, and I don't feel like I really got to know much of them in this movie. Um, but that being said, I do think it's really fun and I think it's really well written. And seeing it in the theater, it felt like a Scream movie.
Once we get to kind of talking about the new cast, I'm going to eventually I was about to say disrespectfully disagree with you. And you know what? I'm going to disrespectfully disagree with you. I
Good.
actually
Good.
prefer this new cast to four, but um
Really? Wow. I'm not saying I don't like them. I'm saying I didn't feel like I got to know them as well as the characters in 4, for them
yeah.
being like a lot of them being in just one movie.
Hmm,
Yeah.
okay. I hear that.
Yeah.
So
We'll see. We'll see how it goes. We'll see if there's a fight.
yeah, you're talking about when you saw this in theaters. How are you feeling? Again, another 11 fucking years between Scream movies.
I
How are you
know.
feeling going in and watching that?
I don't even remember who I saw this with. It wasn't you, because
Hmm,
we only saw Scream 6 together.
I think you went with your husband
I guess I
because
like I really, oh yes, he did go to see it and I couldn't believe it.
he's a trooper.
He had also went to go to Scream 4 and I was like, please, please, please don't make me see this alone. Like this is really important to me. Apparently you only have to do this every 11 years, so that's not too
Yeah.
bad. And I remember he liked this one more than Scream 4. Like he didn't even remember Scream 4, but he's like, actually, I was like, that was fine for a Scream movie. And I was like, okay, fine for a Scream movie is pretty high praise from him. So I had a great time watching it. Um, and you know, always exciting to see Scream in the theater.
I know you called me and we debriefed afterwards
Yeah. Oh yeah.
because I think I went and saw it
You
up
saw
here
it
in the
before
city.
me for sure.
Yeah, I went and saw it up here in Seattle, like maybe like the day prior. Um, I'm older, Natalie, and I can't guarantee that I'm wiser, but I feel like I am a seasoned veteran to disappointment. So I'm coming in here being like, I mean, if this movie's bad, whatever. If it's
Yeah.
great, okay, fucking great. But I'm like, I don't know. It's just kind of nice just kind of seeing these characters again. And
Yeah.
I feel like we got like, we obviously, the difference between 4 and 5 is that we get way less of the core three
Mhm.
than we do in Scream 4. But I don't know. But then like seeing it like again, I think I just had my expectations were like, even if this movie's just pretty passable and pretty fun, then that's a win. And I
Yeah.
am just thankful at this point that I get another Scream movie because the shits are Star Wars.
Yeah.
And we're more respectful to this franchise, and I would argue this franchise might even be a little more consistent throughout than maybe Star Wars. But
Wow.
I I like Star Wars movies. I'll
You're
I'll
gonna
fuck with a
come for Star Wars?
I'll fuck with a Star War, as you do. But yeah, I mean, it was just great seeing it.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's so important when like a franchise has been around for a really long time to not go into it with high expectations or any expectation. Like just be a blank slate and try not to compare it to other things or, sequels and just absorb as much as you can because, you only get to see it for the first time once. So then you can be more critical the second time. But I remember thinking the same thing. I was like, I'm just happy to have another Scream movie. They could make these forever, like really, and I'd be excited. So,
100%. One thing, and it's kind of interesting going into it with that sort of perspective because the whole movie is about people not having that healthy perspective and being like,
mhm,
we are so upset with these fucking movies that
yeah.
we need to recreate our own source material, which I
Hmm.
mean, honestly, kind of, to quote Sydney, is pretty derivative.
Yeah.
I think I would have workshopped that new source material they're trying to create a little bit better, but I do understand if you are gifted the possibility of the daughter of Billy Loomis, you kind of maybe have to go with that thread, right? So
Yeah.
what can you do?
Yeah.
It's like, what, you have them centered around the fucking Randy kids? Like, come on, get out of here. I appreciate them, but come on. Um, anything you want to say before we hop right in?
Yes, I want to refresh on the rules. So we've already talked about Scream 1 through 4, and now we're on number 5. So, of course, we know Scream 6 exists. We cannot talk about it, especially now that we're like in the realm of these characters. We can't talk about their growth, anything like that, whether or not, I mean, obviously we can discuss if they survive because that's this movie. So we can't reference any movies that haven't come out yet. And of course, we'll rank the movies, we'll rank the killers again, and we'll do our boo scores. And then, of course, Kyle's favorite game of choosing if we could swap out one or more of the killers, who would we swap them out for? So that's it. Easy.
This movie loses half a boo because I'm robbed of Nancy O'Dell.
Yeah,
So
I know. Nancy O'Dell, she would have been a returning survivor, but so she's alive in the universe of
in canon,
Scream.
yeah,
Yeah, but she's not in the movie, which kind of sucks. Like we should have really invested in that. She wouldn't have said no. No one asked her. That's what I think.
speaking of returning characters, of course, you got David Arquette playing our boy Dewey Riley, looking a little grizzled. But
Yeah.
he's seen some better days, but that's okay. Always happy to have him back. How you feel about Dewey?
Oh, I love Dewey. I think David Arquette is he's still so good. Like we'll, of course sing his praises, but
Yeah,
yeah, Dewey, his last Scream movie. Um but I think he actually looks pretty great. They just had to make him look kind of messy and, you know, living in a trailer, got fired situation, probably
yeah,
drinking too much. But I love David Arquette, and I think he does a really good job of like playing Dewey as Dewey a whole another decade later.
I know. I agree. Of course, you got Nev Campbell coming back as Sidney Prescott. Um,
Mhm.
I'm Sidney Prescott. Fucking course I have a gun. Get the fuck out of here. This Sydney gives no fucks anymore,
Oh my God,
so
she's so good. I
it's
know.
good.
I love it. So, so good. Yeah, Sydney is great in this movie for how
Yeah.
little she's in it. She makes an impact.
And then you also got, of course, Gail fucking Weathers. I love
Yep.
her so much.
Yep.
Courtney Cox coming back. You've got your core trio right there. I love it.
Mhm.
Um, and hey, you get an extra survivor. Usually,
Yes.
usually these lists get just shorter and shorter as they go.
Yeah,
And
we added
I,
one.
we got one back in
Yeah.
Deputy, well, now Sheriff Judy
Yeah.
Hicks,
Yeah.
um, played by the fucking incomparable Marley Shelton.
Yeah,
I love her
she's
to
pretty
death.
great. She's great as Judy, and I love the growth of her character, like
Yeah.
because she's the same but different. But I enjoy seeing Deputy, or I'm sorry, Sheriff Judy a whole 11 years later. And I was really sad that she died. I was pretty sad. I don't think that was cool. We didn't need her to die too.
You got Roger Jackson, of course,
Oh,
Ghostface.
yes.
Let me ask you, just off the top of your head, I'm thinking like, granted, this will show our age, definitely, but I'm like, who is a more iconic voice in horror?
Like then him?
Yeah. I've got one suggestion.
The only other person I can think of is Brad Dourif as
Of
Chucky.
course, Brad Dourif. Yeah, we should have done a
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. Brad Dourif.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
I
of
knew
course
it.
it's him. Yeah, like the two of them. We know their voices so well.
So, whereas, like, I mean, obviously, like, Michael Myers doesn't talk, Jason doesn't
Hmm.
talk, Freddy does,
Hmm.
but, it's not, I don't know if it's quite the same. Is like, I don't know, just so predicated onto like a voice creeping me out, specifically the voice,
Mm.
like
Yeah,
fucking Roger
because
Jackson at the end of that telephone, or even just fucking Chucky. Oh my God, when he gets angry and angrier towards the end of those
oh
movies
yeah,
and he's just screaming, like, oh my God, that shit
he's
fucks
very
me up.
scary. Yeah,
Yeah.
Freddy as a whole is the whole vibe. Like it's the glove, it's the body language, it's what he's saying and how he says, like it's all of it together
Yeah.
rather than just the voice making an impact. And we love
100%.
Robert Englund.
Oh, I do. Absolutely. Um, yeah, dang. And then, hey, Skeet Ulrich is back. So but we'll talk about him as he pops up
We
because
will.
I'm not going to count him as a returning survivor
Mm.
necessarily.
It's a returning cast member,
Yeah.
we'll say.
Um, yeah, you want to hop into this?
Yeah, let's do it.
So we're opening and we're at a house. We're back in Woodsboro, which I want to go ahead and say I don't need the movies to continue coming back to Woodsboro every
Oh,
time. I don't think we need it
I mean,
necessarily.
it's 3 out of 5.
With another one like having like a set from the movie like as like a
Yeah,
or
that's
a set
true.
from Woodsboro as like a
Yeah.
centerpiece, you know what I mean? And the
Yeah, yeah.
movies are just, generally always just very referential to the first one and especially the
Hmm.
first one. And that's something that, I don't know if I'm the biggest fan of in this one. But we are opening with Tara,
Hmm.
played by Jenna Ortega, who I'd really only seen her in X leading up to this, which I think was the same
Yeah,
year, maybe a year prior.
I think so too. For me, I had only seen her in X, and she's not like a main character. I really love her in this opening scene.
I think so too. Yeah, I don't know. What do you think about this opening scene? Because I've got some thoughts, but I want to give the floor to you first.
Um, Something that I realized today that I hadn't thought about before because I was really like thinking the same thing. I was like, what do I think about this opening scene? It's the first Scream movie since the first one to have like a lone teenage girl in a house talking to Ghostface as your opening kill.
And getting quizzed. I mean, like, granted, like
Yeah.
Kirby gets some questions, but
Yeah, but it's a
yeah,
different situation. So
yeah.
I like that aspect. I do think it's funny that it starts off with her like on the cell phone and the landline like rings behind her. I thought that was kind of cute because they had to acknowledge like we know this isn't the way that people are communicating in 2022.
Right.
So I like that. And I like that, Ghostface is trying to throw her off and pretend to be someone from like the mom's group. And it kind of gives you a little history on mom, being a little absent, maybe neglectful, unstable, whatever, maybe addiction is involved. So it like gives you ideas. But I think the biggest downside for me is that it's not an opening kill. It's now an opening scene. So
Hmm.
that is not my favorite thing. Also, no one's favorite movie is The Babadook. Like, even if you like that movie, it's not your favorite fucking movie. So that was a terrible choice. They could have chose any other stupid movie to use that fits in the category of elevated horror. And I do like that they make fun of that. because you know how I feel about that terminology.
So I do like that they talk about elevated horror because, like I said, I think it's fun to show kind of where horror is at, kind of a given
Mm,
snapshot, especially if this movie's going to try and be like, have any sort of like meta commentary on that, which I don't, I mean, we can argue like how successful to a degree they do that, but
yeah.
um I get it. Like I'm thinking like, hey, if you're an impressionable high schooler and you are into artsy horror movies and this and this and this, which I mean, I am too. I love all of those movies as well. Um, Honestly, of the ones that of that she mentioned though, like, The Witch, It Follows, Hereditary, I actually probably like Babadook the least out of that group.
The Witch is definitely my least favorite on that list.
Ah, which is so fucking cool. I love it. That's okay. I get it. It's a slow burn, and you know how much I love my burns. The slower the
Hmm.
better.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm like, oh, if you're some teenager, of course you're gonna say it's the fucking Babadook. Like, I don't know, like, because it's a hot topic movie at the time, so I get it.
Maybe I missed the joke on that one. Like maybe that's part of the joke that she would choose that as her favorite movie. Because that's the only way that I would be okay with that decision. But I do like the violence in this scene. Like I genuinely am
Yeah,
afraid for her and I like feel the pain. And I think Jenna Ortega's really good at like showing pain in both her face and her sounds that she makes. Like, I believe that she was stabbed. Absolutely. Um, so I do like the amount of like violence that you see, like the kicking of like the leg when she's like, I think he like probably breaks her ankle or breaks her
yeah.
leg and like stabs her right through the fucking hand. Like, it's pretty brutal. So you go into it like, okay, this movie is gonna like do some stuff. Um, and I do love her like Googling the cast and everything, like for the quiz, because it's like Ghostface. People can just look this shit up now in the moment, in seconds. You need to find a new game.
I know. I love that. Well, and that's why he goes with the trick question at the end. Is like, who's the killer?
Mm-hmm.
Poor Stu getting a little forgotten, which is
I
a
know. In
funny.
the whole movie, which is such a weird choice. I always wondered why. I thought Stu would have ended up being the killer. That's what I
Yeah,
thought was going to happen since they forget him several times, or someone who's related to Stu directly.
right. My hope
Yeah.
would be like revealing Stu in a long con kind of situation. Let's wait
Yeah.
till Scream 8 to see what happens. That'd be pretty fun.
Yeah.
Um, Gosh, yeah, I know. Did you think she was gonna die?
Yes, I thought that she was dead.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because I was like, oh, that's perfect. Like Jenna Ortega is this like up and coming actress in the horror community, like seems to really love her. So I think at this point we already knew she was going to be Wednesday. I don't, maybe I'm wrong, but
I don't know.
she was, yeah, like she was up and coming and she had like some roles on some other shows too. Like she was on the show You, the Netflix series. I
Okay,
don't know if you've ever watched that, but
I have
she's
not.
much younger in that. She's probably like a tween. But she had some good roles, so I thought she was gonna die.
Yeah,
Did you?
yeah, me too.
Yeah.
So, but I don't think I was necessarily disappointed that she didn't die necessarily because she ends up playing. I think she's a
No,
good
I'm
character.
happy her character survived, but it breaks. It's the only one that has a survivor, so it just feels weird to just be a one-off.
After this happens, you think she's dead, but she's not. You cut over to Modesto, California, and I don't think. Now, granted, I've only maybe been in Modesto once in my life, but I don't think there's a more perfect snapshot of Modesto than a deserted bowling alley parking lot made of
Yeah.
like stucco with like just like faded 90s aesthetic.
Uh-huh.
And clearly no one's going to that bowling alley because they're just down to just go and just leave.
And just sitting in the parking lot, like right in the middle of it.
Yeah, so I don't know. That's so you're introduced to Sam Carpenter, who is the sister of Tara Carpenter. Um, Last name Carpenter, probably no.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, nudge, nudge, wink, wink kind of situation. And then you've got Richie, her boyfriend of I think she said 6 months.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wouldn't tell anyone shit until we've been
I
together for
know.
years and married for many more years. I wouldn't say
Yeah,
shit.
like she shares a lot with him after 6 months. And also like it's sweet that he wanted to come with, but I'd be like, nah, you stay here.
Oh, watching that, I'm like, and that's the same with these movies. It's like as soon as you see Richie, I'm just like, oh, he's the killer or he's dead. It's gonna be one or the other.
Yeah, he's either gonna die immediately or he absolutely is the killer because he's very insistent upon like coming with her.
Sam, who is kind of I think really our final girl. I mean, like
Hmm.
Tara, I think Tara's a supporting character, but it's
Yeah.
Sam who's,
Hmm.
kind of the star of this movie. I like her a lot in
Did you
this.
like her when you watched this movie?
Yeah.
Like just this movie independently?
Yes. I think I was maybe alone on that, or at least maybe in the minority at first.
Hmm.
Um, but I guess what I thought was a little refreshing is because I don't know. I wrote down like the vibe I'm getting from Sam is like Scream 2 Sydney, where you're
Hmm.
kind of like already past the fucked up trauma shit, and you don't want to take a lot of shit from people. Like her
Hmm.
first conversation with Ghostface, she's like, "You want to fucking come? Let's fucking go,"
Yeah, yeah.
and she's like, we're getting the fuck out of this fucking town. And, I mean, she's still wearing her emotions out, or she's trying to keep her
Hmm.
emotions at bay. I thought, especially what underscored this was when she says to Richie, "You don't have to check on me. I'm not breakable." And
Hmm.
I thought that was maybe not intentional, but a possible callback to when Sydney says to Dewey, it's like,
Hmm.
you don't know, or I forget what she says,
I'm
but it's
not
like,
glass Dewey, or I'm not glass Dewey. I'm not gonna break. Something along those lines.
which I think she says in Scream 2, right?
Hmm. Yes.
Yeah. So that's already to kind of further underscore that. I like Sam in this movie. Um, what are your thoughts though?
Hopefully you remember our conversation 2 years ago.
Verbatim.
I'm verbatim, of course. We weren't recording them then. I disagreed. So when I saw this movie, I actually did not like Sam. And I felt like not as much as the internet did not like her. Like Melissa Barrera got a lot of shit and it was real fucked. Like I wasn't on the internet being like, fuck this bitch. Like we hate her. Where's Sydney? Like a lot of people were, which is kind of funny with the theme of the motive of this film, but we can circle back to that. But
Nope.
that being said, I liked the toughness of Sam. I like when she's on the phone with Ghostface, and anytime she was faced with danger, I liked her character. It was the in between. Her conveying of emotion just wasn't there for me. And like acting alongside Jenna Ortega, like Jenna Ortega's a really good actress. Like I think she's great. And I don't think Melissa Barrera was matching her. So that for me, like is maybe part of like her as an actress. Maybe it's just the lines she was given were not that fun. Like she has to tell the whole story about, you know, finding the journal and all of that and it's just all this exposition that she has to like dish out. So I think that also could be maybe a problem. She just wasn't written as fun because when she has fun lines and things to do, she's great. But I think there's just a lot of up and down for me with Sam. So I didn't hate her. I saw potential for her, but I did think she was a little bit flat.
Maybe attribute to her, some maybe to her character and the writing maybe a little bit as well. I mean, I think that she does get saddled with a lot of the exposition because
Yeah.
she is the gatekeeper of all of that
Yeah.
knowledge, that
Mm-hmm.
relationship to Billy and
Mm-hmm.
her place in all of this and Tara's place in all of that. And she is the one, all the introduction to all the characters are through her
Mm-hmm.
and her seeking the help and the support or whatever, whether it's the friends or whether it's Dewey or meeting Gail or
Yeah. She's like leading, she's pretty much leading everyone through the movie. Like it's like she's like a narrator that's not a narrator. But all the other characters are so fun and like they have good energy that like it didn't like her performance and her character didn't like affect my view on the movie at all. Like it was just a like she's fine.
you mentioned the rest of the group. That's who gets introduced next.
Hmm.
Again, kind of reminiscent to the scene in the first movie. And I
Hmm.
think they also kind of mimic a bit in Scream 4, where it's just like all the kids kind of sitting around, whether
Hmm.
instead of like a fountain, like this is just like, some tables. They're still outside of school, and we are introduced to our fucking team of pals. We've got Amber, who's played by Mikey Madison, Wes Hicks, who is the son of Judy Hicks. Didn't bring him up, not that she necessarily had to in Scream 4, but he was a little babe in Scream 4.
Yeah, I guess he would have been like 5.
If they're like 16, 17
Yeah.
now, and it was 11 years, yeah.
Hmm.
So you got Jasmine Savoy Brown and Mason Gooding as Mindy and Chad, Meeks Martin. Meeks, of course, the children of Martha Meeks, who's the
Yeah.
sister of Randy Meeks. And then Sonia Amar as Liv Mackenzie.
Mhm.
And then also Kyle Gallner just creeping
Just
like a fucking
creeping
perv.
around the high school. Yeah.
Love
One
it.
fun thing. I don't know if you know this. I don't know where I learned this. Probably listening to another podcast. The voice of the principal speaking in the microphone about like everyone like having curfew or being safe out there because there's a killer, is
Mhm.
Drew Barrymore.
Oh, really? That's
Yeah,
great.
I thought that was kind of fun. Yeah.
Love that. So I was kind of alluding to this a little bit earlier. I like this friend group. Sorry to compare, but I connected with this friend group much quicker than I did the friend group in Scream 4.
It's so
As far as
interesting.
introducing new characters. I mean, I think it's just because I kind of hated them all except for
You
Kirby,
did. That's true. You did hate them all. I, okay. I didn't hate the Scream 4 friend group. This friend group, however, I do think is more believable, like as
Yeah.
friends. Like they
Yeah.
seem like they would be a friend group, but I don't know. I have a lot of thoughts on like just yeah, their personalities maybe. But I believe that they're friends.
And I like their personalities. You've got
Well, I
Wes,
don't
who's
I don't
kind of
like
a
Mindy. I do not like Mindy's character until we get to the party. Like, I think she is so unlovable. Um, she's she doesn't have the warmth that Randy had when he was delivering information about like killers. I feel like I'm going real hard on this movie right now, but there are a lot of things that I like.
go
But
for it.
I was not like a fan of Mindy. I was like, why are we being nice to her? She's so mean. And Chad is like so dumb and hot and lovable. Like, so I'm like the two of them just playing off of each other. I don't know. I don't love that. And Amber, she fucking sucks. She's the worst. There's nothing, even before she's the killer, there's nothing to like about her whatsoever. She's terrible.
You've never had a friend who was that protective of you that way, or you've been protective of someone else that way?
I am that friend. I am that friend.
So maybe
But
that's what it is. I don't know.
maybe, yeah, maybe I'm just like, oh, I don't like her. She's a reflection of myself. Yeah, oh man, Amber. But funny enough, I love Chad. I like Wes and I like Liv. I think
That's
they're
pretty
fine.
good. It's like
Yeah,
3 out of 5. That's
not too
pretty
bad.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also like Mindy. I think I like Amber a little bit better in this most recent watch than I did before.
Hmm.
Um, I see it. And always my prevailing theory is that the person who plays Ghostface, or the person who ends up being Ghostface, is the person who looks the most like Ghostface. Whereas in this movie,
What?
it's if you have the long dark hair and the super pale face.
That
Now, granted, this only works for 4 and 5
is the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
because Charlie looks the most like Ghostface. Honestly, they both do.
And
But the
Jill.
Yeah, they
Okay.
both look the most like Ghostface. Granted, they were very overlit in that movie too, so
Yeah.
only added to it. And then in this movie, it ends up being Amber, who, yeah, of that friend group, who looks the most like Ghostface. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's pretty sound logic. But I like um I like Chad a lot. I like this.
I love
He,
Chad.
I'll always love a good Fast and Furious reference, right? So calling his arms Hobbs and
Yeah.
Shaw, you know. he's just again just yeah just pretty dumb, pretty lovable. Love that he's like wearing like the same jacket, like
Uh-huh.
just the Woodsboro hasn't changed those jackets really much in the
No.
last 25 years, so I'm getting Steve vibes, and especially we can
Oh,
talk about that a little bit
yeah.
later. But yeah, gosh, I don't know. I think these characters are fine. Granted, most of them we have to stick around with for long, but you know
Hmm.
I think it's nice that a few of them survive. So we have the
I
opportunity to
agree.
at least learn a little bit more going forward. So I
Hmm.
don't know.
Kyle Gallner is an interesting character to me in this
Mhm.
movie for a couple reasons. One, he's old enough to drink. We know that because he says so at the bar.
Yeah.
So he's at least 21, and we're gonna assume Liv is at the oldest 18, but
Hmm.
does not look 18. Like that actress probably is older, but like she looks like she's playing someone who's like 16 or 17. So yeah, kind of being a creep, Kyle Gallner. Um,
Always. I love a good Kyle Gallner situation.
he's so cute though. I love him in everything that he's in. Really.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, even when it's really bad. I think
Even if
this is
he's playing a
only
creep, like he looks like he hasn't bathed, and I'm like, I'm cool with it.
yeah. And he's also Stu's nephew. So there you go. So some connection.
Yeah, so they're trying to give you that red herring situation there, not for long, but
Same thing, and maybe it's just on course with a lot of these movies is that there is that original like, oh, they're killing people connected to the people in the original whatever, and then we're just gonna give up on that.
yeah,
So Sam and Richie arrive. They have that conversation in the car where Richie's like, sounds a lot like Halloween, and she's like, okay,
yeah.
maybe it's a little bit like Halloween,
And he says that he's never seen any of the stab movies, which I think is really fun.
fucking
A fun
liar,
lie. I love that.
fucking piece of shit.
His whole journey of like pretending that he's never seen the stab movies to like watching it to learn in the hospital to like being in the hotel room watching it. You're like, oh no, he's actually just really obsessed and probably has to watch them all the time. So
Yeah.
he's just pretending that he's never seen them. So I like that. I like that little trajectory for him.
So does he have to like, yeah, just long call. Like, does he ever have Sam like over like at his apartment or something? Does he have to take down all of his stab memorabilia that he has? Um,
I'm sure he had it like ready.
I
Like
guess.
maybe he probably rented a completely different apartment.
And you think he like on a bowling alley like attendant like salary? He's got like his own place. You don't think he's got a roommate who's like, oh no, this dude's like super into these fucking stab
Yeah,
movies.
he's like, dude, what
Like,
happened to your stab posters? He's like, shh. It's like,
yeah.
not when we
So
have company.
yeah, right. um, Yeah, this whole group's great. I love Wes. I also love Wes's frosted tips. Just want to
Oh
speak that out.
man. They
Yeah.
felt really like no one had frosted tips in 2022.
Yeah. I was like, I don't know why it just reminded me of like It Follows, where it like tries to really not let you know what time of or what decade this is taking place in. They're just like, let's give them frosted tips because it'll be super 90s, and then I'll just like throw everybody off.
I don't know about those frosted tips. And like Dylan Minnette is very like just like he looks like kind of like a nerdy guy. Like and he usually plays that character. So the frosted tips also felt like they were like, hey, maybe we can make him look a little bit more edgy. Like maybe they just had like a 60-year-old hairdresser that was like, oh, you know what makes the kids look edgy?
Yeah.
Frosted tips.
Frosted tips. Hell yeah. We do the kind of full introduction at the hospital. Sorry, not Amber. Liv doesn't join them at the hospital, trying to
Uh-huh.
set her up as maybe a red
Suspicious.
herring. And that's where we're introduced to everybody. Sam and Tara do their reuniting and everything.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, just kind of said, I'm like, hey, I'll stay with you. We're here. We're gonna be in town for a little bit. And everybody else leaves, and then we cut over to the pool bar, which is afterwards. This used to
Hmm.
be a longer scene that I guess Dewey was at the bar, but they cut his part
Oh.
out of
Oh
there
yeah. Yeah, I've heard that.
just to kind of establish him as kind of a town drunk a little bit.
Hmm.
Poor guy. it just reminds me of Jennifer's Body a little bit, of like these small town bars that just like let teenagers inside. So
Yeah.
like, so you can have this opportunity for creepy older dudes. Now, granted, Kyle Gallner is like in his 30s, to just like mac on teenagers, be like, "I'll buy you a real drink," and I'm like, legally,
Yeah.
no, no, you can't, and no,
I
you
mean,
won't.
he would though, and he probably would get away with it.
You think
In this
so?
like random small bar in Woodsboro, they don't give a shit who he hands that drink to.
Mm. Brand small town in Woodsboro. I'm like, what do you think is the average home value in Woodsboro? Like, that's, I don't know. We'll see.
That's true. That's true.
So, I mean, that's what it is. It's all just a bunch of fucking rich kids that,
Yeah.
you know, can do
Yeah.
whatever. So of course, Kyle Gallner and Chad get into their fucking bullshit, love
Hmm.
it. Gallner eventually leaves. And then I'm pretty sure, do we cut to Kyle Gallner's death pretty much right after this?
Yeah.
Yeah, just on the other side
Yeah,
of the
because
bar.
they all leave the bar, and then he decides to pee on the wall because I mean, I guess he was kicked out of the bar, so he couldn't use the bathroom in there.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, then it goes right to his death.
Which is our first death in the movie. It's pretty good, pretty brutal, pretty quick. Liked it. Of course, having the Nick Cave play in like the car radio is
Hmm.
always a fucking nice touch.
Yeah.
Um,
It's a quick death. He probably gets one of the easier ones.
yeah. I just like how just like real fast he just like gets up and just like and
Hmm.
just that bam to the neck, and he just
Who do you
bleeds
think
out.
killed him? Richie?
Had to have been, right? Amber was there with them. I mean, unless
Hmm.
like Amber, you never know. Amber could have
Could have
been
been
like,
like, peace
ah,
out, I'm leaving.
peace out.
Yeah.
I like the idea that most of it is Amber.
I
Almost all
like
of it is Amber.
I think so too. And I had watched, I don't remember who did this, probably Zach Cherry. His who killed who situations. Those videos are really fun if you're into that sort of thing. Um and his theory was that Richie is like very clean and quick and like throat slits, like really like good stabs to like major arteries, and Amber is more like fast, quick, stabby like kills. So that's how I like kind of
Hmm.
decided who was going to be the killer, or if it's obvious that one or the other is missing. But it seems to fit.
Yeah. I think it's just like figuring out like how to get from like Judy's house back to the hospital that quickly,
Yeah.
you know, for the Dewey kill. But I don't know. So yeah, I don't know. So like, yeah, I thought it's pretty good kill, a good way to just kind of set up like, oh, okay, this dude's fucking taking
Hmm.
shit seriously. I also think that maybe it could have been Amber, or at least I don't know. I thought what kind of clued Amber into it was she didn't seem that interested in Kyle Gallner at all, until you first see him, and they had mentioned that there was some connection, I think, between Kyle Gallner and Sam and Tara. So, and then
Hmm.
Amber was like, "Oh wait, really? Your kind of situation?" So maybe she was like, "Oh, okay, let's fucking kill him then." You
Yeah.
know, we're back at the hospital. God, we're always going to be back at this one.
It's so
Uh,
a lot of this movie is in the hospital.
and
Yeah.
again, the emptiest fucking hospital
I
in the
know.
fucking world.
Even when like Judy's like, oh, we can move you to a private floor. I'm like, why would I
Why?
want to be around less fucking people? Why?
Yeah, that makes no fucking sense to me.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I just want to be in just and just one security guard or one
Yeah.
fucking cop who ends up fucking dead. Some nameless dude who ends up dead eventually.
Yeah.
Um, so we're back at the hospital, and this is when Sam gets her first, or at least we see her first vision of Billy Loomis. Um, I thought if anything, this was the most divisive part of the movie.
Yeah, this was a bold choice.
I'm curious of your thoughts.
I want to hear your thoughts first.
Okay, I think it was great, and I
Of
loved
course.
having him back.
Of
And
course.
I love this. I don't know. I think this is fun. I think it's a cool way to bring him back. I It's not supernatural necessarily, even
No,
though
I don't think it's supernatural.
you could kind of argue, I'm like, he's like directing her to where that knife is at the end, but
That's pretty fucking dumb.
whatever. But still, I think I disagree. I've got it in my notes, and that's okay.
I knew we were going to disagree on this because I of course.
Now, granted, is the CG a little rough, and I
The
feel like
de-aging.
the
Yeah.
de-aging, because they like make him look very dark, and it like
Yeah.
doesn't, and I get it, it's also like a lower budget Scream movie compared to the others
Hmm.
too. So I just think what a fun way to bring him back. Who fucking cares? As far as I'm concerned with this movie too, I'm like, I've already waited 11 years, and then 11 years before that. For all I know, I'm gonna watch Scream movies with the idea that I'm never gonna get one of these ever again. So I'm like, fuck yeah, bring Skeet Ulrich back, bring whoever the fuck back. Of course, this granted, this is the same person, mind you, who is like, ugh, why did they have to bring Jamie Kennedy back in a stupid video? Who the fuck cares? Just let him be dead.
Oh yeah, you fucking
But
hater.
I'm just trying to be accountable. So, but this is great. I like it, and I love how quickly aggressive he gets,
Uh-huh.
where he's like, yeah, we should start fucking killing people. We need to find them and fucking start
Yeah,
slashing
yeah.
throats. But I think it's great, and I don't mind it at all. Go ahead.
Okay. Obviously, I'm always happy to see our boy Skeet. So anytime you can get him in there, like it's great. But I think it's dumb. I do think it's very dumb. Does that mean that I hate it or like, you know, you should scrap it completely? No, but I could have done without it. Like I don't think we needed it.
Mhm.
Um I do always appreciate something that's just kind of like really weird and unexpected, and I definitely didn't see that shit coming like when I went to see the movie. So I'm fine with it, but I do think it's kind of dumb. And when he points out the weapon, I just can't even with that because obviously if he's within her mind, she would have had to have seen it, and then she's just imagining that her serial killer father is like helping her out. So I'm like, oh, is he a hero now?
Oh
What the
yeah.
fuck's going on here? So it's kind of weird. But what I think is interesting about this Billy hallucination situation is she was taking pills, like antipsychotics, is what he says. Do we think that Richie like swapped out her pills so that she starts like seeing him again?
I didn't think about that, but very possibly.
Because she said he was like, oh, the antipsychotics aren't working anymore. Like, and she wouldn't know that he had swapped out the pills. So she's probably just thinking they're not effective anymore. But why wouldn't he? Like, if he's like sleeping next to her bedstand and is just like, boop, swap those with little sugar pills.
May as well. I mean, I think that is an absolutely valid theory, and I would absolutely believe that if that happened. I had interpreted it as just being back in Woodsboro was so
Hmm,
overwhelming and being so
like triggered.
close to this trauma that it just, yeah, again, became so overwhelming for her that even she was like, I need a stronger dose to keep it
Yeah.
down over here.
Yeah.
So, but I think, yeah, I don't know. I like that thread that you're
Nice.
pulling. Yeah.
Yeah, I wish that they would have like, I don't know. I think that could have been fun. Um,
So you get your first Ghostface call with Sam.
yeah, which is great.
And when she's like, "Who is this? What is this?" I'm like, "You need to know it. You know exactly what is going
You
on
know
when this
that
person
voice.
calls
You
you."
went over the fucking stab movies with your boyfriend. Come on,
Yeah,
get it together, girl.
you know exactly what's going on. And you get your first fight here, which, Ghostface is able to get out of here. Again, because you've got no one else in the hospital. Ghostface can run around and do whatever the fuck he wants. No
Yeah,
one's
literally
checking.
just like walk around to the vending machine in that full fucking costume and nobody would notice.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, fucking police show up way too late. Judy has this conversation with Sam.
I like that they give them a little bit of history. That's fun.
I like that too.
Yeah.
Um, because also, like, look, we like Judy, we do, but also Judy is not perfect. And
She's a
Judy,
stick in the mud. Like,
she's absolutely a stick
mm-mm.
in the mud. And she was saying some really hurtful shit to
Yeah,
Sam.
she was. Yeah.
So she has this weird, creepy, mean darkness to her. And you see that like a
Mm-hmm.
little bit in that one scene with her and Sydney in Scream 4, that you'd brought up. I'd almost
Mm-hmm.
skipped over that part. Um, so
It's almost as if that she's so good and pure and rule following that if anyone isn't that way, she gets like kind of weird about it and like aggressive and like dark because she doesn't want any of that like around her or existing.
And Sam's like, look, okay, this is getting a little much already.
Yeah.
Even though only one person's dead, and someone that she didn't give a fuck. She had never
Yeah.
met this person before.
No, fuck
Neither of
that
the,
guy.
or at least maybe they're connected. I forget exactly how they're connected. I'm sorry, y'all. didn't do my research that well. But um Sam's like, okay, I'm gonna come clean to you, Tara, and kind of explain what the fuck's going on.
Hmm.
Um and how the parents are involved, and how the second she was able to, when she was 18, she had to bail town. She was worried
Hmm.
that just being the daughter of a serial killer somehow would compel her. I don't know. There is like a lot of material, and even a documentary or two on like the children of serial killers and like what
Hmm.
that's like, you know. So someone should have maybe sent her that way and be like, look, you know, you don't, it doesn't mean you have to become
Yeah.
one too. I think there's definitely some therapy. Um,
Yeah.
so
What do you think about them going back and rewriting some of Billy's history?
I mean, I don't know. Were you surprised to hear that Billy was fucking around behind Sydney's back?
No, I mean,
No.
obviously, like if he wasn't fucking her and he's a teenage boy, like he's like, yeah, I'm definitely gonna fuck other people. Like, I don't care. Um, I don't know. It just felt weird to me. I was like, oh, okay, like I guess that makes sense, but it's now the second time we've gone back and rewritten Billy's history.
The difference here, though, is that you are, I mean, expanding rather than rewriting.
That's okay, that's fair.
There's this other element that he just had sex with this girl and got
Hmm.
her pregnant. And that
Hmm.
is so that has nothing to do with the
And he didn't
trajectory
even
of
know.
anything. And he didn't even know
No.
until, again, here we are 25 years later, and his weird ghost hallucination knows. But
At least he's there for her.
yeah,
That's nice, right?
and that's why I think it's different than saying that Roman was the one pulling the strings the entire time.
That's
So I do
true.
think there's a difference
Yeah.
there. I don't think it's as bad or as egregious, or whatever.
Yeah, good
Um,
call.
Sam admits to Tara that, yep, okay, this is who I am. And then Tara does not handle it well, which I'm
I
like,
did not
also
like the
like,
way she reacted at all. I thought that was kind of dumb.
yeah, I'd be like, oh, okay, I get it. Like, yeah, okay, fuck. But yeah, this whole like kind of get the fuck out thing, like, come on. First of all, like, where are your fucking parents? Like, where's the dad? Well, I mean, we know the
Well,
mom
yeah,
is
we
in
know Dad
London,
left.
and
Dad
then
left.
it's wild. And then no one
Dad
in the
left because
hospital.
Mom was lied about the baby. They say that,
Yeah.
and that's the whole story, Kyle.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, you still have a child.
Dads leave.
Yeah, I know.
It happens. Ask
I
mine.
know. It's fucked up. Hmm. So Sam's like, fuck, all right, no one's gonna help us. We,
Mhm.
we can't really trust any of the friends. S- the cops don't want to fucking help us. They want us to get the fuck out of town. So who do we go to? We gotta talk to the expert.
Dude.
He couldn't have gotten some money. What happened to that house? How's he in the
I
trailer now?
know.
How's all this happening?
Okay, so I wonder because I thought the same thing. I was like, why does he live in a trailer? They have that beautiful house in Woodsboro, which, we figured the property value's got to be pretty high there. Like, I doubt Gail just, well, she did say he left in the night. She could hire lawyers and fucking go for everything. Um,
Hmm.
but my theory is that if he was bad enough that he was drinking so hard that like they asked him to retire or fired him, we'll say,
Yeah.
he was probably like a fucking mess. Like maybe he was gambling. I don't know. He could have thrown away, you can throw away money real fucking quick.
You see Tatum's ashes. You're like, oh,
Hmm.
Tatum.
They finally
Oh,
acknowledge her.
yeah.
I really like Dewey's reintroduction. Like I like that they show him as a mess and like his like shining light is seeing Gail on her like morning show. Like the way he smiles when she appears on the screen, it says like good morning, I'm Gail Weathers. Like he's like, huh, she's so great. Sitting there.
He's such a dork.
Uh-huh.
Um,
I love it.
Sam and Richie show up. He's like, why on earth should I talk to you? I love this exchange. He goes,
Yeah.
why on earth should I talk to you? And she goes, I'm the daughter of Billy Loomis. And he's like, that's a terrible reason for me to fucking talk to
Yeah.
you. No, fucking course not. Get the fuck out of here. Um, I thought this whole scene introducing, yeah, Dewey was like really fun, and the conversation
Hmm.
between the three of them, of course, even as Richie acknowledges, Dewey nails it in one take. He's
Yep.
like, how the fuck long have
Immediately.
you known this guy? Don't
Yeah.
trust him. and it's going to be someone who's a close friend in your sister's friend group.
Hmm.
So he's like, yeah,
He
I
knew.
got you too.
Yeah, he called it. And the other fun thing too that is fun on a rewatch for this movie is
Mhm.
Richie's reaction to Dewey. Like if you,
Yep.
because you're so busy looking at Sam because she's talking and Dewey that like Richie's like stunned in the
S-
background. Like he looks like
Starstruck.
frozen in time, like starstruck. Yeah. So like he's like having a total fanboy moment inside and is not hiding it well. And he does the same thing when he sees Sydney.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
definitely love the dead giveaways there.
Hmm.
Um, and they're just like, "Can you help us?" And he's like, "No, of course not." But I'm like,
Yeah,
"Come
he's like,
on."
fuck off. Yeah.
But I'm like, "Come on, Dewdrop. You know better.
Yeah.
You're gonna do it."
Yeah.
Um, and of course, we're introduced back to Sydney via phone call.
Their last ever phone call.
I know. And it's like, oh, it's hard because it's like she like it feels like she knows like when she
I
has that kind of lump in her
know.
throat at the end and that pause where she's like, just be safe, right? And he's like, yeah,
Yeah.
fucking always. And it's like, it's gonna be the last time
Hmm.
they speak. And man, this shit breaks my heart. What I don't love is this insinuation that fucking Mark
Hmm.
Kincaid is still in the picture and has fathered multiple children with her. I
No,
don't like that at
absolutely not.
all.
No, no, Mark Kincaid. No, thank you. I feel like everyone felt that way. Like everybody was like, wait, Mark? I'm sorry. Wait, are we talking about fucking Mark from Scream 3? Because it's like when you have a friend that got back
Yeah.
together with that terrible ex, and they're like, whoa, 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 whoa. This can't be the same
Yeah.
Mark that we all fucking hated. And they're like, yeah, that Mark. That's how every Scream fan felt when she said
Yeah.
Mark.
Like that dude at the fucking party who like when he'd ask people what their favorite scary movies are, and then he would respond, "My life." Fucking fucking dork, dude.
Fuck him. And
Fuck
how,
him.
like, yeah, no, it's just not a good, not a good
Yeah.
match.
Now, granted, Patrick Dempsey looking pretty good around that time. Well, no, not 2020. Yeah, he's still looking pretty good
He
now.
always looks good. He always is looking good. Nothing against Patrick Dempsey. It's the character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Patrick Dempsey's like George Clooney. He just needed like a little salt in that
Mm.
pepper,
Mm-mm,
to like really be
mm-mm.
like, oh, okay, I get it now.
Don't
You
try
know.
to distract me with George Clooney. We can't go
Yeah.
back there.
Yeah. Gosh. And then of course Dewey's like, yeah, Gail's my next call.
Oh
Just
gosh. And he texts her like an idiot.
I know. Ghostface is back. Don't come back. Also, hey, wink
With
face or
the smiley
emoji,
face.
smiley
And he
face.
goes, oh, I shouldn't have sent that smiley face. I love watching him like
Just I
text
know.
her and fuck up, especially because they've been like married and divorced.
Just texting himself deeper into that hole. I know that's hard. And like, yeah, they haven't spoken in like a few years now at this
Yeah.
point. So I just feel bad. But Dewey's like, dude, Dewey takes like 2 seconds. He's like, all right, let me get my gun. Let's go handle this.
Hmm.
And meets them over at the Meeks Martin house, where we're back with all the friends. And this scene is pretty great for a
It's
couple
pretty
different
great.
reasons.
Yeah.
One, sorry, forgot, maybe technically returning survivor, Heather
Oh
Matarazzo,
yeah. Yeah.
um, who I'm like, if you're gonna give me anyone from Scream 3 to come back that isn't Parker Posey, Heather Matarazzo would be my next, probably.
Yeah.
Or
And
I
she
find out that,
fucking Dewey, poor Dewey gets it so hard in this
yeah,
scene. She's like, you look, yeah, just kind of like shakes her head. And I was like, damn, girl, he didn't look that bad.
I know. I'm like, damn. But gosh, we haven't seen her in a Scream movie in 22 years. So that was kind of
Yeah,
interesting.
that's wild.
And then I just love how just on board she is with all of this. I mean, like you would think, and you think she would be possibly a target too, having,
Yeah,
being the sister. I mean, if they're just
yeah,
gonna kill fucking Stu's nephew, like for fucking whatever, I'm like, I
just for
don't
no
know.
reason. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but she's just like, ooh, suspects. I love that. Your uncle would be
And
so
brings them,
proud.
yeah, brings them snacks.
And then the Randy Meeks Memorial Home Theater with all the
That's
pictures
cute.
of fucking Jamie Kennedy. I loved that. That was a
I
whole
love it.
It was a nice touch. Um, but yeah, gosh, this is when we are kind of introduced to the idea of a requel. which is something that was popular, not even was. I mean, this movie came out, 2 years ago, but and still is. But this idea of, that Mindy explains where you can't have just a sequel. You can't have a reboot because people are going to lose their fucking minds.
Hmm.
And then in explaining, again, it's like how Dewey kind of nails who the killers are. She kind of nails the motive pretty early on
Hmm.
that
Yeah.
people care a lot about this. People, this is their fucking Bible, is this like first stab
Hmm.
movie or whatever. And then any attempts to fuck with it. So like studios that just want to cash in on just trying to
Hmm.
milk both, right? The new audiences and, all the fucking 4chan nerds is yeah,
Hmm.
it's like what they did with Star Wars, right? What they did with Ghostbusters, and honestly, it's Jurassic Park too. And honestly, it's all been to very low quality results. Honestly, almost every single time.
I do like Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom for the record.
Gross.
I
That's
like that.
disgusting.
I like that movie. So
Good for you.
whatever.
Um, I was going to argue that the only exception is this movie that like brings the old characters back. Granted, they had a test run 11 years ago with Scream 4, so maybe they learned
Hmm.
some of their
Hmm.
lessons this time around, but they were like, I don't know. Yeah, like right off the top of my head, and maybe, yeah, fuck, if you are listening, fucking throw in some of the comments on Instagram. Like, what do you think is like what works? You
Yeah.
know,
Which ones worked?
I mean, you could also say, well, there's the Halloween movies. David Gordon Green, always stand at least first one's
Mm.
okay. I still think that third one's great, but just I also know I'm alone on my little tiny planet. There was also that Texas Chainsaw one, but it wasn't even the same actress playing the character from the first one that came back.
Oh, but that's because she passed away.
Yeah, I know, but still, you're just like, then, like, why? Why
Then
are we
why?
doing this?
Yeah. Yeah.
Was that a story that just felt you just fucking? And I get it. It's all
Yeah.
just to keep the rights. You have to make a movie every
Mhm.
X amount of years. Um, yeah, I can't think of an example that's any good. Now, granted, it's all subjective, I suppose.
You did a great job of thinking of examples in general, though.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
good job. Good
Yeah.
list.
Oh, yeah. Thanks.
I
But
was
I
like,
thought,
I was like, I can't think of fucking one. And then as you're listening, I'm like, oh yeah, that one
yeah.
exists.
So, I mean, Jesus, you had Michael Keaton come back as Batman in a Flash
Mhm.
movie, and that was
Just weird.
terrible. And I watched it because I was like, all right, I will watch Michael
Because
Keaton's
Michael
Batman.
Keaton, that's why they did it.
And then
I did not watch
why?
it.
So bad, so fucking bad. Um, and then yeah, no, there's some pretty funny exchanges here, especially between Wes and
Oh my
Dewey.
God. That might be the funniest thing in this movie. I I don't remember what Wes says to Dewey, but it is quite insulting.
He's like, geez, you've been fucking fired. You've been stabbed a billion times. You're fucking at the bottom of a bottle. I'd
Oh
say to
yeah,
say you're a suspect. Dewey's like, maybe you're the killer because fuck, bro.
that cut
That's deep.
deep.
I liked that. And then also when Wes is like, oh, am I a target? Or when Mindy's like, the killer is going after people connected to survivors from the original movies.
Hmm.
And then Wes is like, oh my God, am I a target? My mom was a character. And then Mindy's like, no one gives a fuck about the inferior sequels, Wes. You're fine. Which
Yeah. Another thing I had never thought about until like literally just this moment is Judy and Dewey like know each other like very well. So like Wes would have known Dewey for fucking his whole life pretty much. So for him to say that, I feel like it's even more harsh.
I know, right? You would think Judy was probably prepping fucking little boy Wes to, start calling him dad.
I know. I
know?
at first I didn't do the math and I was like, wait, do we know who Wes's dad even is? Like we don't see any male like father figure for him or any like other parent. Like it's just Judy. I would have loved to know more about that dynamic, but then I was like, okay, the math doesn't really work for Dewey to be his dad, but I thought that would have been that's interesting.
Sam takes off. We get our second Billy situation. I know. She's like, am I part of someone's fucking fan fiction or fan
Yeah.
fucking fiction? Get the
Yeah.
fuck out of here. Which, yeah, you
Yeah,
are.
you are.
Sorry. unfortunately. But yeah, you get your second Billy vision, him in the rear view mirror. I liked this one even better. This is my favorite between the two of them because this one
Hmm.
Billy's just like, let's start to fucking killing people. Let's
Yeah.
fucking go, you
Yeah, I
know.
like that.
So she's heading back to the, well, Jesus, maybe the hospital, I think at this point. Like, fuck, I figure
Hmm.
everyone's going back and forth to the hospital. Shit throws me
Always.
off. But we do get our, Jesus, probably our biggest death set piece with Judy and Wes here.
It's pretty good.
I think it was really good.
Hmm.
Probably my favorite directed scene in the movie. I don't think that's a hot take at
I
all.
don't think that's a hot take. No, I think it's a really good kill. I like the way, I don't know, I feel like you get so much insight into Judy as a person, as a mother. The
Yeah.
dynamic between her and Wes is very like it's cute, but also like she's like really on him and he's like a total mama's boy, which is cute. You get the little note on the fridge that says that there's lemon squares in the fridge, which is really fun.
Which I don't like because I thought that was being framed as a sexual euphemism in the last one. So I don't.
Well, I mean,
All
she's
right.
using it two ways. Like
Yeah.
it's the one thing she knows how to bake, probably because like she's a working mom. She ain't got time to cook. Obviously, she's ordering sushi. Like,
Yeah.
so I
Hashtag a
like,
mommy.
yeah, and I like the dumb leggings that she's wearing. Like she's wearing those like leggings with like the pink leopard print down the side just to make her look like such a mom, like of that age. So
Yeah.
I really like the world that they build with Judy and Wes, like in such a short amount of time. Like you really like he's like setting up their little sushi date. I'm like, oh my gosh, like
So sweet.
that made me almost think that he was the killer because I was like, oh, there's some weird mother-son like stuff going on here. But obviously, that theory got squished pretty quickly.
This movie, I feel like also does a really good job of Roger Jackson being a constant presence through the movie
Hmm.
because you get yet another phone call with Ghostface and Judy. She's trying to call Wes, and it's a little picture of him like as a baby or as a toddler, like on
Yeah.
her phone. You're like, oh my God, these two are so fucking
Yeah.
dead. And it again, you feel bad because you're just like, ah, this is like a mom just trying to protect her fucking child
Hmm.
and knowing that they're both fucked. And just
Yeah.
imagine it that those like just the last thoughts in her head are like, I can't save my son. As she's
Yeah,
just
that's
dying
fucked.
right there on the ground. Like, just
Hmm.
imagine you're a fucking mom. Just imagine just how
Yeah, that's terrible. I don't know, like, I
it's
guess
horrifying.
that's the better alternative to seeing him die and then getting killed. Like, I would prefer to be killed first trying to save him. Like, that would be my wish if I had to choose one of the two. But what I really, really like is the like gender flip of the shower scene. So you have like the teen boy showering
Love
and
it.
like in this long drawn out scene instead of it's always a girl. So I really like that they do that little flip and just the overdoing of the like cabinet door. The like any like door like he's every time he the refrigerator, anytime he closes a door, they do like the music cue. There's
Yeah.
just nothing there. I like that they overdo it because it's really fun.
Yeah. It's really funny. And then of course he closes his last door, which is the door he should have went right the fuck out of. The door he
I
should have
know.
opened
He would
was
have
the
seen his
front door.
mom. Ooh.
Yeah, or at least some fucking blood stain on that sidewalk or that concrete, like leading up to the on
Yeah.
the walkway. Because
Yeah.
dang, right in fucking broad daylight, fucking that's why it's
That
Amber
was
because
bold.
she gives no
No fucks.
fucks.
Yeah, she does not give a fuck. Yeah, she's not cautious at all.
Yeah, so ooh, she goes and then yeah, just Wes, yeah, just kind of going through and again it's so sad him like making setting all the the dishes and all of that, knowing that she's already fucking dead. And
Yeah.
oh, and then he puts up a little bit of a fight against the
He
front door,
does. Yeah. But
tries to get the taser, doesn't work. Yeah.
that knife going through his neck is so fun.
Yeah, it's
I
fun.
I love the way that looks. That I think that's a pretty fun kill. And just the struggle of it, like, yeah, just like seeing him like really like pushing back on the knife. Oh my gosh, like or on the Ghostface's arm. Ooh.
even after it's been in his neck, he's still pushing
Mm-hmm.
back, and then it comes out the other side,
Oh
and he's
yeah.
still trying to like
You
it's
can see the skin, like they did a good job of you, like you can see the skin like pulling like
yeah.
from the knife. Oh yeah, it's pretty good. I remember being really impressed by this whole scene, the whole kill. Like this is really where it like I mean it ramps up once you see Dewey really, but like this was a really fun scene. I was surprised they killed Judy.
Goodbye, Judy.
Yeah, R.I.P.
Oh, one thing I forgot about that conversation back at the house is I also liked how Richie calls Dewey a shitty Sam Elliott.
Yeah, he does.
I thought that was pretty good. And also when Dewey it says, "Hey, I'm going to temporarily assist you," and the Dewey cowboy music kicks in,
Uh-huh.
and you're just like, "God, that shit just hits
It hits,
hard."
yeah.
That
Yeah, it
music,
does. Yeah, it
yeah,
does.
it's really good. Um, ooh, yeah, it's that fucking neck kill. Goddamn. But
Yeah, it's good.
hey, if anything, silver lining, it brings Gale Weathers back to Woodsboro.
Mhm.
Because of course all the police show up, and then you've got the news coming, and then damn, you could put her in any color. It doesn't
Any
matter.
color, just full body, just pantsuit, skirt suit, whatever it may be. That red pantsuit. Yep. I had that written down.
I love it.
Took an hour to get to Gale though. I wasn't happy about that.
I like that they saved her for last of the original three reveals,
That's true. Yeah. Yeah.
because come on, okay, look, yes, is Sydney to the star? Yes, we love Sydney Prescott, but
But
come on,
Gale.
we're a Gale
Mm.
Weathers podcast. Sorry,
We
all.
fucking love Gale. This conversation, this fucking conversation between Gale and Dewey, this is the only Scream movie that has ever made me cry. And I cry
Yeah,
twice when I watch it. And this
yeah.
conversation is one of them. Did you know that they actually were like really crying, the two of them, like doing this scene because like they had been like divorced, like in real life sense, and they like were like super duper emotional.
I'm
Isn't that
sure.
terrible? Huh.
Yeah. Oh my God. I know that's hard. And when you know, you're just like, oh, you just with this conversation, the way it's going, even before we get to the hospital, you're like, oh my God, Dewey's dead. Dewey's absolutely
You're like,
dead.
it's a goodbye. Yeah, like it
There's
feels
no
like a
way.
goodbye.
Yeah,
Yeah. The
100%.
saddest goodbye. Oh,
But then even the last thing Dewey says to her is like, huh, maybe this will make a new chapter in your new book or whatever. Make a chapter in your new book.
I love that. I love that that's the last thing that he says to her because he's been saying that to her like since day one. It's who they are.
I also love that Gail wasn't going to go to Woodsboro. This is my theory, is that Gail wasn't going to come back. No, but that last chance to get a fuck you to Judy
Yeah.
to show up at her at where she had her fucking death. And
I know. And say that she's like, yeah, she didn't like me much either. And the report on it.
I love that. That's her getting her final.
Yeah.
I'm sure Gail walked past that tape, just walked in, past all the bodies,
How's your
picked up
lemon
some
square taste now, bitch?
picked up some lemons, picked up those lemon squares out of the fridge, just fucking threw them out. I don't know. I love it. So, but then, of course, right? There's only so many cops in Woodsboro. So Sam's like, who the fuck is watching my sister if you're all
Yeah.
fucking here? I can count
Yeah.
y'all on one hand. And the one
Yeah.
guy who's there, he's like, oh, I don't know. I think they needed me here. So I came
Well,
here.
he's like my fucking boss slash the sheriff just got murdered. Like I actually don't blame him, but I'm like, you still have to do your job. Like still need to protect people. So, you know, how often are you actually protecting? Like, get on it.
Yeah, I know. So Sam's like, all right, well, now I got to get again back to the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Dewey's like, I'll roll with you. I'm in hero mode. Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
I just said fucking my final goodbyes to my
Oh.
love. So I'm ready to go play some hero shit left and right. Let's go. And then we've got this attack on Tara in the hospital, which
Mm-hmm.
is pretty good. I mean, Richie shows up for a minute just to get his obligatory kind of arm
Mm-hmm.
slash and gets knocked out. I like Tara getting in the wheelchair, and just you
Oh
can tell
God.
the
Oh.
blood stains just spreading like in her
Oh.
bandages because she's also open wounds and the stitches are breaking.
And and again, like her the sounds that she makes, her like pain sounds are so convincing. Like it hurts me to watch her rolling around in that wheelchair. Like I feel
Yeah,
like you can just feel like her internal organs probably aren't doing great. Her hand's not
no.
doing great. Her leg isn't great. Like she's a fucking mess and she's just trying to roll out of there as slowly as possible.
Ghostface is like, hey, although this is the first time I think I've seen, no, maybe where like they like turn on a little thing so they can just kind of talk in real time
I think
as
this is the first
Ghostface.
time they show that. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Sam and Dewey get there, fucking break up this mess. They fucking get Richie and Tara, get him back into the elevator. They're like, all right, let's get the fuck out of here. Dewey's like, wait, and
Mm-mm.
everybody knew. Everybody knew at this point. Like,
Why weren't we shooting why weren't we shooting Ghostface in the head just to begin with? Like, Dewey, you've got to know how to aim that gun at this point. Like,
yeah,
why didn't we just right off the bat headshot? Who cares who
easy.
it is?
Always go for the fucking head.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he goes back and yeah, it's brutal. I mean, I still think it's like a little silly that like, you know, it's a phone call from Gail that kind of just buys Ghostface even just half a second to be able to
I
stab him.
know. That doesn't seem fair. Do you feel like Dewey's death was like do you feel like it was the right choice?
It's hard because it's like I'm sure like probably yes, it makes sense because
Mm.
you raise the stakes a little bit and you need a reason to get that was the only reason that Sydney would come back to Woodsboro was for
Yeah.
Dewey.
Yeah.
So yeah, in that sense, then like yeah, I get it. But also I don't need these movies being fucking Woodsboro. So get the fuck out. But
Hmm.
yes, but also I think that I think ultimately I'm still a fucking fanboy. So it's like, yeah, of course I want to see
I
Dewey forever,
know,
you
because he's such a
know?
great character.
That's what I
And
liked
that,
about the fourth one was that I just felt like, well, like,
hmm
yeah, so maybe there weren't actually any stakes after all, but also, I still had fun. I like seeing these characters. So
hmm
who cares? Even if
Yeah, I
that doesn't
agree.
necessarily mean a better movie or a better story. So
Yeah.
I'll admit to that. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like I would always want more Dewey, but I do think it created a lot of emotion and it like finally like glued Gail and Sydney's relationship together like
Hmm.
this far into the franchise because every time they see each other, like there's always some awkwardness on the hug or like, Gail showing up late to the fucking book signing. Like there's
Love it.
this like weird like separation frenemies thing that they have going on. And I feel like Dewey dying was like the last thing that they needed to like actually like kind of just meld their relationship. Um, Another fun thing too, because I'm just really sad that Courtney Cox and David Arquette aren't together forever.
Mhm.
That photo on the phone is actually like a photo of them like from their own like personal like collection.
Very cute.
I know. It's a cute picture.
Yeah, I don't know where that coroner's going. If that's like the only hospital, I mean, don't they just have to turn around and just go right back in? I mean, I don't know.
I feel like we've had these conversations before where we're like, who's the coroner? Who's the fucking mortician? Where are they going? Like, they just, yeah.
Yeah, clearly this hospital's way too big for this town because again, you have multiple empty floors, and again, like you would just think with if you're just serving this one spot, like I don't know where else, like you, where else would you have your morgue off site? Like I don't know, it doesn't seem to make sense to me. So
That doesn't make sense. Yeah,
yeah,
that's fair. And also, once they're in the lobby, all of a sudden, like this is like a hustle bustle, like active hospital.
yeah. Let me before we move on, let me ask, has any death in this franchise up until this point hit you as hard as Dewey's?
Oh no. And it's not like I was very devastated that Dewey died and I remember like feeling really sad, but it's Gail's reaction and
Mhm.
seeing her like break down because that does not happen ever, like up to this point. That was really rough. I cry when that happens. I can't stand it. Like Gail's loss makes Dewey's death harder.
The last time I had an emotional response like that to a death in this franchise was Casey Becker.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, absolutely.
So that shit
Yeah.
fucking it's rough. And just, and then of course and then just the reaction from the mom, seeing what's
Mm-hmm.
understanding what's going on and then seeing her hanging from the tree.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, fuck, well, okay, yeah, 26 years later, like fuck, like, they were able to in a slasher movie give you
Yeah.
another kill that like had that weight. So that's why it's kind
Yeah.
of like yeah, maybe you feel compelled that you have to kill one of them and you're never gonna kill Sydney and you're never gonna fucking kill Gale. So
Fucking better not.
fucking better not. So, but yeah, like I said, Sydney arrives because that's the only thing that's going to bring her back to Woodsboro. I mean, she's
Yeah.
like, Mark, watch the kids. I've got my guns in my trunk. I'm going to go fucking go rogue and handle
I'm gonna
this.
go fuck shit up.
Mark, who very well still could be a police officer, a detective,
Absolutely. What
says,
like
go for it.
don't
You,
don't send a man to do a woman's job. Come on. Like
100%.
it's this is Sydney. This is what she does best.
So Tara and Sam, they reconcile and they're like, look, hey, we're together now, but let's do something
Mm.
that nobody does in these fucking situations. Let's get the fuck out, please.
Uh-huh.
So they're ready to go. You brought up Richie fanboying Sydney from the background, right? That happens.
Hmm.
Because
Right about
of
here.
course, yeah, Sydney's like, hey, what's up? I know you're Billy Loomis's kid. Let's fucking do this. Sam's like, respectfully, sorry about Dewey, but also fuck right the fuck off. I'm getting the fuck out of
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. Which
This
I
is pretty good.
respect. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Because yeah, I'm just like, yeah, let's go. And then also I'm just like, I wouldn't have even pulled over for that fucking inhaler. I'm like, no, we're gonna go to a
Mm-mm.
hospital 3 towns over. We don't have to go all
Yeah.
the way to Modesto. That's okay. But we're gonna
Yeah.
go to some urgent care or hospital that's just in
Hmm.
a random town that,
They'll give you an inhaler if you're fucking gasping for air. Like, come on.
yeah, which I'm like, I get it because it's Richie that took the inhaler, right?
Hmm.
Which I mean, a lot of that worked out really well for them. But I do also appreciate that Sydney puts that tracker on a car.
Ah, I love it.
Seems like something Gail Weathers would do. I love that.
Hmm. Yeah, and I love that Gail is like she's just so into it. Yeah, their whole interaction with Sam and putting the tracker on the car is all really fun.
Yeah. Just Gail being kind of like a kind of hype man a little bit. Just being
Uh-huh.
like, shit goes back to the original. You fucking looking at it,
Yeah.
motherfucker. The
She
shit's
says,
the
watch.
original.
I love that she says, watch your tone, new girl.
I love that.
Gail is actually pretty nice in this movie.
Yes, she
Like
is.
compared to all the other, I'd say this is probably the nicest she is out of the five films.
So you want me to go commit murder with you and a morning show host? They're like, yep,
Like, yeah, uh-huh,
pretty
pretty much.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah, correct. So yeah, gosh, I mean, this is kind of bringing us right to our final kind of third act,
I
which
love
is
the party.
right back at the party, which is at Stu Macher's house, which
Mhm.
we don't know initially. Did you get any hints that it was Stu's house?
Oh, I did not notice at all, and I didn't watch any trailers.
The trailer does give it away.
Hmm.
Yeah,
So I did not watch any trailers, so I didn't know.
yeah.
That's why I stopped watching trailers because they fuck shit up.
Tara doesn't have her inhaler. The Amber's got it. They're gonna stop by Amber's. It's on the way. Of course, we're gonna find out right. Stu Macher's house. Um, there's some kind of this is really the only kind of parts where you get some interplay between the supporting characters, where you have a scene
Hmm.
with Amber and
And I
Mindy, and you have a
love all of
scene
it.
with yeah, and with
Hmm.
Mindy and Liv. Um,
Hmm.
I love the part with Chad and Liv where he's like,
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
she's like, you want to go upstairs? You want to do this? And he's like, I am not, the way he phrases it, I am not 100% sure that you're not the killer.
And she's
Like the way he
literally
kind
like,
of,
"Do you want to fuck?" And he's like, "Oh."
which
Because
I mean is pretty cool, pretty funny. I
he's
because I'd be
he's
like,
like, there will be a chance for this again. Like he knows there
yeah,
will be a chance again. And like, if you're not sure if she's not the killer, getting you alone in a room could be the end of you.
yeah, that's when I'd be like, we need to at least have like a menage a trois or some kind of
Yeah,
situation, bring
we
in
need
some extra
someone else.
people. Even though there's always at least two Ghostface killers, so we're gonna need at least like four, five, six in this situation, just so to cover all the bases. So in case any two of us at any given time
Yeah, are
are
both ghost face.
Ghostfaces, we'll have four other naked people to combat you. So that's what I would do. Yeah, I like the in between, like Amber and Mindy in the basement, both
I
accusing each
love
other of being
that.
the killer. This is all really cute.
Yeah,
And then,
everything between like all of them, the way that they interact is so fun. That's I feel like you this is the most you get to know all of the characters.
yeah,
Yeah, and I do like that Mindy gives Chad a thumbs up when he turns Liv down for sex because she might be the killer. And she's like, just across the room, just thumbs upping him, and he's like, fucking fuck.
yeah. Nice thing, what I like about Mindy and I like about Chad and Mindy, is like one, I mean, these movies are so white. Um,
Yeah.
leading and then so Scream 5 having Chad and Mindy and Tara and Sam,
Hmm.
you have multiple lead characters of color in
Hmm.
this movie, and you have an openly queer character with Mindy,
Hmm.
that, and again, like with the queerness isn't played as this punchline like it
No.
was in Scream 4,
Hmm.
whereas where you're just left with this, not even like a punchline, because you're left with this confusion of like, wait, so is Robbie gay? Is he not? I
Yeah.
don't know. What does
Yeah.
that mean? I don't even understand it. And so I do appreciate that with Mindy in terms of like, the queer representation. And then
Hmm.
again, yeah, just that BIPOC representation with everybody else in this movie. Again, a very good breath of fresh air,
Yeah, that's
considering all
true.
the other
Yeah.
movies. So this movie gets points for that, definitely. And then
Yeah,
again,
it
so I
does.
appreciate just getting to see them all interact, see Mindy be like, "Oh, I'm good. I'm gonna fucking make a move on Francis over there."
Yeah, I
And then
love
Francis is
that.
all like,
I'm just like, yeah, you are.
she's like, "Fuck yeah, you are I'm here." And she does. So
Yeah.
again, I think this is all really fun. I think the Chad attack is next.
Yeah.
Um, he had alluded to it a little bit earlier in the movie, the Find My Fam thing, and it's like,
Yeah.
no, you're not gonna be some creepy
Also,
possessive boyfriend
like,
who's gonna track me. Get the fuck
I'm
out of
like,
here.
also, is that how that works? Like, where it's like, it looks like almost like the thing in Tremors where they can see in Tremors
Yeah.
2, where they can see the little, the graboid coming on the screen, like beep, 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 beep. I'm like, that's not how those work.
Yeah, yeah, it's a Tremors 2 app. Absolutely. And the graboids, is it the second one? Do they start walking or flying? Is it they start flying in the third one, right?
Yeah, they start walking in the second one.
Right, right,
Yeah,
right. Yeah,
we'll get
hell yeah.
there.
I did think it was generally a pretty good set piece there. Again, not ending in a
Yeah.
death, which you find out later, which man, that dude gets stabbed the fuck up. Me too.
Yeah, I thought he was dead for sure.
Yeah.
I do like when he throws the phone. That was smart.
Yeah. Well, because how
Leave
many
him a
times do you
little
see that
long.
now in phones where like someone's trying to fuck with their phone and it's just smeared with blood and they can't like recognize their
Yeah.
thumbs or their face or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
I feel like that's
That's a
happened quite a bit.
fun little thing.
And again, it gives me vibes of that kind of the Casey and Steve kills from the beginning. I think only because it's just like at the end, he just like he sees a clear pathway. He's
Mm-hmm.
running for it. The car headlights, like he's so close. So like
Mm-hmm.
I get kind of Casey Becker, and then also just because he's still wearing that jacket, it's like
Mm-hmm.
I'm still just getting, of course, not like direct comparisons, right, but again, just kind of the spirit of it, the vibe. It's like this feels very much like a Scream kill. And then
Mm-hmm.
especially that shot of him, he's like limping towards, and then you see the door to the shed over his shoulder, and Ghostface is fucking popping
Yeah.
right out of there.
Yeah.
And no, he does, and just comes right to him. Again, definitely Amber, because she
Yeah.
just is very stab
Stabby,
happy.
stabby. Yeah.
Yeah. Which I mean makes sense if maybe she's, I'm just thinking of like maybe like the dimorphism of it all, that like maybe she needs more of the surprise and then also like a bunch of quick
Hmm.
successive stabs, whereas, you know, yeah, again, Richie, I don't know. So yeah, I totally thought he was dead. But the car headlights that come, that's Sam and Richie and Tara
Yep,
arriving. They clear out the party pretty quick.
which
I
is
think it was
fun.
like I think like one of the party goers say like or something like, yeah, like Amber's weird dad's kicking us out or
It's just
something, like
somebody's
talking about
goofy ass
Richie.
dad. I think he says somebody's goofy ass dad is kicking us out. And that's
Right.
Jamie Kennedy that
Oh, who
says
says
that.
that?
Hmm.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I know when they
I
do
don't
the
remember where I got this information from.
yeah, it's probably in some IMDb trivia somewhere, but like I also know like when they do the two Wes thing that cheers,
Yeah.
like that's like a lot of the cast members, which is
Hmm.
cute. So gosh, so we cut away from Chad. So the party empties out. You have this quick scene with um Liv and Mindy,
Which
where
is
Liv's
the
looking really
best.
suspicious. Love it. And again, just like Mindy being kind of put in her place a fucking little bit too. Yeah, like,
Yeah. She
she
needed
talks a
it.
lot of shit. Yeah. Fucking Liv takes off.
I love
Um,
that she takes her snack. Like she fucking grabbed that bag of chips. That shit to me is the funniest part of that scene because she
yeah.
like goes through that whole like seeming super suspicious and just like mean and saying all these creepy things. And Mindy's like, she's like, you think I'm gonna cut you up, Mindy? She's like, now I kind of do. But then she
A
just
little bit.
grabs the bag of chips, and I'm like, damn, that's harsh.
It's fucked up. I'm gonna eat your fucking Doritos too. Get the fuck
Yeah.
out. I'm gonna eat up on your fucking brother and your fucking Doritos. Fucking
Yeah.
bitch. Get the fuck out of here. I think at the same time, fucking Gail and Sydney are of course tracking the car. They realize that they're over at Stu's
Yeah.
house. She calls Sam and it's like, fuck, you need to get the fuck out of here. Also, in the meantime, Gail has almost this quick glimpse into some accountability when she goes, maybe none of this would have happened if I hadn't just kind of glorified all these killers and wrote all these books. And then
Yeah.
and then Sydney is like very like, oh no, you
She's
didn't.
yeah, she's nice about it. She didn't have to be.
I know I wrote down that Gail's like, maybe this is my fault. Sid goes, no, this is Billy's fault. And then me, I'm like, I don't know.
Isn't it
I mean, it's
Roman's
kind
fault?
of Roman's fault,
Yeah.
or at least, oh, he's part of it. So you keep Roman,
I
but
feel like they don't ever talk about Roman
oh, sorry,
again.
sorry. I mean, you keep Mark, but then you got the Roman erasure. Which I mean, I guess I really just get rid of them both. Just give me
Yeah.
Parker Posey, God damn it,
Yeah. That's
and
all we
Patrick
want.
Warburton. He survived
Yeah.
somehow.
If I
So
don't know about that, but
yeah, yeah. Fuck, pretty quick. I mean, I think this is when we get our first killer reveal.
hmm.
Everybody gathers together and
They're all
lives like
accusing each other.
yeah, they accuse Liv. Liv's like, I'm not the fucking killer. And then Amber's like, I know. Pulls out a gun, which I believe the wherever I read is supposed to be Dewey's gun that she has.
Oh,
I don't
interesting.
know. I
Oh,
just figured,
because she killed him.
yeah.
Yeah.
And shoots Liv right in the fucking head. So Liv's dead. That's rough.
Yeah. Yeah, she gets her real quick. I kind of like it though. It's fun. It was definitely a surprise in that moment.
Yeah. And she's like, welcome to Act Three. Let's fucking go. And you're like, okay, I
Yeah.
guess Amber's one of the killers. Let's see how this goes. How do you feel about that reveal?
I thought it was a fun reveal. I definitely didn't because she's like so accusatory. Like even if I did think she was the killer in that moment, I didn't think she was just gonna bust out a gun and shoot her in the head. So feel bad that Liv gets kind of a lame kill, but yeah, it was fun. And I wasn't surprised. Amber sucks. So whatever.
Yeah. Everybody scrambles. Sydney and Gail roll up. They hear all the screaming in the house. They're like, yeah, that sounds about right.
They're like, here we go again.
You ready for this? Fucking never.
Never.
I'm like, she's got a gun. She's got one for Gail. Says, here you go. Let's fucking go. Let's do
Hmm.
this. Does piss me off a little bit that Gail gets kind of incapacitated pretty quickly.
Immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was shitty.
Yeah. But I did think I liked when Amber's like, oh, I've been stabbed. And they're like, we don't buy this
Yeah.
shit for fucking 1 minute. You
Yeah.
know?
They're like,
That's why
trap, trap.
that's why I thought it was weird that Gail got shot because I figured they were so prepared for that being bullshit that they were
Yeah.
like, No, we're
Duck.
not. I don't know. Duck, run. I don't know. And at this point, I don't know when Tara got tied up and put in that closet.
She went upstairs with Amber to grab the
Oh, right.
inhaler, which also, what business did she have going upstairs with crutches? Get out of here.
Yeah.
She should have just stayed downstairs, but I think that's when she tied her up.
Right, right. So she finds them. Geez, I think Mindy is was attacked at this point. Again, kind of like double
Mhm.
meta here because you're building off Jamie Kennedy talking to Jamie Lee Curtis and
Uh-huh.
saying, "Look behind you, Jamie, look behind you." And then you've got her telling her Uncle Randy, like, just look behind you, Randy, behind you. This, again with Ghostface right behind her. I love that. The
Uh-huh.
difference though is that she looks around and
Yeah, she's like, oh fuck.
yeah, which is pretty good. Quick attack, but I never thought she was dead.
Mm-mm.
So after
No.
that attack, I was like, oh, okay, she's surviving to the next one.
Yeah.
Because I doubt
Yeah.
she's gonna like come back and then like just be further involved in this last scene and whatever, whatever.
Yeah.
So, which again, I was fine with because I do like Jasmine Savoy Brown and I do like her in
I
this
like her.
movie.
Yeah.
Um, Also Yellow Jackets alum brought that up a few times.
Mhm.
Um, I think she's some other things too. And then also, did you know both fucking well, Mason Gooding, son of Cuba Gooding Jr.,
Mhm.
and then what's his face? Jack Quaid, son of Dennis Quaid.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of
More
lot of
Nepo babies.
more just Nepo babies in Woodsboro. I know. Um yeah, the Mindy attack was kind of cute, only just for if only just for that. And then also, there's that reference where, like, in Scream 2, Jamie Kennedy's like, yeah, dude, you got David Schwimmer, and I get this fucking no name, whatever the fuck. I like that. Yeah, it's just some unnamed actor that plays him.
Yeah, it's just some random actor no one knows. Yeah.
Sydney makes her way into the house. So
Oh,
I'm
just
trying to kind of
kicking ass.
get us through this last part again, where she's taking no fucking fucks.
Ugh.
She's like,
She's like, you've got 5 seconds to get your asses out here. Because
yeah.
she didn't even say she's gonna shoot. She just fucking starts shooting doors and kicking them in. That is
Oh,
so fucking badass. I love it. I think my jaw dropped when I watched it. I was like, oh, Sydney, this is amazing.
and then fucking Ghostface trying to be all like, oh, well, you forgot the rules to surviving a stab. She's like, I am fucking bored. Get the fuck out. And
Yeah.
to get Ghostface to panic a little bit, to like, wait, 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 wait,
Yeah.
like,
Because
oh, I
clearly
love it.
that's Richie's bitch ass.
I know. Ugh, fucking bitchy. Fucking asshole. But then she does shoot him, which is pretty funny. But yeah, of course you get this scuffle because you've got Amber back in the Ghostface costume attacking Sid. Sam shows up, fucking grabs the gun. And then here's where we get our second and final killer reveal.
Mhm.
Richie, who takes a knife and just puts it right into Sam's side,
Mhm.
gets the gun from her, and he's like, fuck, sucks. It's a bummer, it's me,
I
huh?
know. I do like that he says that.
And I think everybody was like, yeah, that makes sense. You're still alive. So
Yeah, he would have been dead a little bit closer to the beginning of the party if it wasn't
yeah.
him. Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah, what do you feel about this reveal?
I like it. I actually I really like Richie. I like his motive. Like I said earlier, I like his whole journey, how they show him watching the stab movies and just getting progressively more like engrossed in it.
Yeah.
The one thing that I don't love is like, why do they have to make the romantic connection between him and Amber? I'm like, they couldn't just be two weirdos on a message board that like, found each other and tried to murder a bunch of people or murdered a bunch of people successfully.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I don't understand why they had to be romantic, but yeah, I dig it. And his
Yeah.
reveal reminds me a little bit of Billy's, but he uh stabs Sam pretty good.
Well, it is kind of similar where like he's bleeding and kind of like falls down the stairs and is like,
Hmm.
hey, give me the gun,
Yeah.
kind of situation. So it's a little bit of the same.
Hmm.
Um I think the motive's great. I like it. I mean, or at
Yeah.
least I get it. I get that there are some crazy fucks on the internet that are
Mm-hmm.
super entitled to,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, just like fucking movies. Like there is, I guess maybe now that like I'm older, I used to maybe have some more of like a more of like an intense passion maybe for like
Mm-hmm.
movies and TV and books and just media and things like that. But like I don't know. I'm just like, what the fuck? Just this sort of kind of ownership and
Yeah, that's what it is. It's the ownership. Like they feel like if they're a fan, that they somehow can control what happens and what they want to see and all of those things. And I think what many of us learn as we get a little bit older is fan service doesn't always work. And most of the time it doesn't. So I
100%. I'll point to Ghostbusters where I think that,
mm,
you know, like, yeah, was that movie with Kate McKinnon perfect? No, but it was fine.
it's fun.
It was enjoyable enough. And then, but this idea that like, oh no, no, we need an actual sequel with the actual fucking guys
Hmm.
being back. And like, you can only do it with three out of the four because Harold Ramis died. And you have this
Hmm.
weird fucked up thing with him as a ghost that goes way too long than it
Oh,
should. Oh yeah. And you hadn't seen it. You
I
haven't seen
haven't
it.
seen it. Mm-mm.
Oh, and you're just like watching this and you're just like, dude, this is like sad to like watch them
Mm.
just in these suits and do this thing. And it's like never enjoyable. Like maybe I'll give you some fucking credit. It's probably enjoyable to hear Jeff Goldblum say a bunch of smarmy fucking things as, Ian Malcolm, maybe, in some Jurassic Park movie, but
Yeah.
it's it's just fans don't know what the fuck they want, I'll be honest.
Yeah. No,
And
we don't. And like, and that's okay. That's why there's people
yeah,
who create for us and you have to trust them. And if you don't like it, great. Move to the next thing. There's so much media to consume. Like, I'm sure if one thing that you love gets, doesn't land the vision that you wanted it to, you'll find another thing that you love that absolutely works. So, yeah, it's I like that even the motive itself had like toxic fandom like responding to this movie in a way that was ridiculous. Like it was just so funny. Like I'm like, how do y'all not realize how not self-aware you're being?
and it's funny they bring up Ryan Johnson a couple times and being like the eighth one being the worst one and this and this and this as a reference to Ryan Johnson doing episode 8, Star
Mm-hmm.
Wars The Last Jedi. And again, I'm not trying to be contrarian or anything, but it's like and granted, okay, I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan, but I've seen all the Star Wars movies, and of the last 6 Star Wars movies that have come out, The Last Jedi's the best one. Like if you're talking the prequels and then the episode 7, 8, and 9, Last Jedi is far and away the best one. Like y'all need to fucking get the fuck over yourselves, people that complain about that. Like granted, there's some parts that are not great. Yeah, because fucking honestly, like no Star Wars movies are really that perfect. Maybe the first two, sure, maybe, but I'm like, get the fuck out of here. So I thought it
I
was funny to cite, Ryan Johnson and the part 8 of a series like that. And again, just to kind of demonstrate like fans don't know what the fuck they want or what the fuck they're talking about all
mm-hmm.
the time. So granted, maybe that's me fucking just shooting, maybe maybe
I
I don't
hope
know.
that there's some Star Wars fans that come out of the woodwork and have some strong opinions for you. That would be really fun. I have no strong opinions on Star Wars, and I've only seen episodes 1 through 6. That's all the Star Wars movies I've seen. I haven't seen any of the other ones.
Hmm.
So I
That's
have
fine.
no real opinions, but I did understand the joke because of my husband having watched all of the Star Wars movies and commenting on that movie.
Through the end here. Do the motive reveal. A phone call comes in. Fucking Richie seems very convinced from a conversation earlier that he has talked Sam into thinking that Tara might be the killer. Turns out
Mm-mm.
Sam's like, get the fuck out of
She's
here.
like,
Hello.
yeah, come to think of it, you have only been around for 6 fucking months.
Yeah, 100%. So, and a lot of people are dead. So process of elimination, bro. Like,
Uh-huh.
so, um, this whole thing, this kind of back and forth, of course, in the same kitchen. They start spreading out, or at least
Hmm.
Amber and Richie split up a little bit. Um, then they switch out. Well, then when they break up and then Sam's able to get away, you've got Richie going after Sam, and then you've got
Hmm.
Amber sticking around with Sydney and Gail. Um,
Hmm.
this whole thing's pretty great.
It is.
Amber fucks around and finds out. Don't talk shit, especially on Dewey to them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
But
I think Amber and Richie have two of the best like killer kills of
yeah,
the franchise.
I just wrote in caps on the top, just Gale
Gail
fucking
fucking
Weathers,
Weathers.
because
I just wrote, enjoy that torch.
I love all of this that she has no qualms with shooting a child,
No, no.
which is great. And
Fucking little murderous child.
oh yeah, I know. Just taking her the fuck out. That worked out pretty perfectly with the hand sanitizer, and then
That's
of
good, yeah.
course, just getting set the fuck up on fire. Which of course, I haven't seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Me
Again,
either, but I know that that's how she dies, I guess, in that movie the same way.
yeah. Listen to our episode on From Dusk Till Dawn to hear why I don't really care to watch Quentin Tarantino movies. Um, and I still don't need to, but. Yeah, that death was pretty great. And then, of course, dude, Sydney, what final girl? I mean, granted, she has the most opportunities, but what final girl has just the best final lines to say?
Oh, so good. So many good comebacks from her.
Oh my God, just enjoy that torch. She's fucking lying
So
on the
good.
ground on fire. I
Yeah.
love that shit so much. And then, gosh, we jump back over to Sam and Richie, and
Mm.
I wrote, well, she finds that knife. Billy, and then you see Billy.
Thanks,
Billy looks
Billy.
another Star Wars reference. I just wrote down Billy Wan Kenobi. Um, just as her fucking guiding presence to be like, hey,
Did you recently watch a Star Wars movie, a Star War or two?
it's what it has to say on fandom is definitely pointed at Star Wars. Absolutely. So it just kind of got me
That's
thinking as
fair.
I'm watching it, you know. So I love when Sam just kills the shit out of Richie.
Oh, it's
It's
so
brutal.
good.
I love
Yeah,
it.
she stabs him so many times, and I just love his like, what about my ending? And she says, here it comes.
Here it
Fucking
comes.
slits his throat. It's really good. Yeah. That definitely made me excited. I remember seeing that scene and being like, okay, now I'm excited to see this girl in the next one.
Yeah.
Like, because that was pretty good. It was great.
So final fight, Richie's dead. And then of course Sydney's like they always come back. So Sam's like, give me that gun. Boom, boom, boom. Just
Yeah,
a
get
couple in
him,
the chest,
get
one in the
him.
head. She does not give any fucks. And that's why, like,
Hmm.
again, I think that what I appreciate about Sam is that I feel like we're almost like a couple movies ahead where
Yeah,
Sam is a
yeah.
little closer to where
Hmm.
Sydney was, maybe
Hmm.
a few movies in. And then of course Amber comes right back.
Was burned. She looks great.
I would have appreciated if Gail had just finished that kill, rather than
Yeah,
Tara.
yeah.
Um,
I mean, she was Tara's friend, so maybe like the
yeah.
betrayal there.
And then that line, I still prefer the Babadook,
Ugh, I hate that line.
which I'm going to be honest with you, especially for comparing, like, say, like, I don't know. Yeah, maybe that's just my preferences. Like Scream is a better movie than Babadook. Easy.
Hmm.
And all the different metrics.
1000%.
And that's okay. I still like Babadook too. You don't have to create this either or
I've
for
only
me.
I've only seen that movie once, and I do remember thinking it was scary
Yeah.
but boring. But I've only seen it once. I think we watched it on a movie night.
So hey, man, fuck, everyone's dead. Fuck, we figured it out.
Yep.
All right, mystery solved. Okay, we've got I think a larger cast surviving now than we have
Yeah.
before, which is pretty good. Um,
Hmm.
you have what's gonna inevitably be your core four in
Hmm.
Sam and Tara, and then our Meeks Martin twins, which is
Hmm.
great. I like that they both lived.
Yeah, I was okay with both of them living. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I mean, you got to have some people coming back for the next one. You don't
Yeah.
want to, kill everybody. I mean, it was funny that they did it in Scream 4, but it's like, just kill all the kids. I
Yeah,
mean,
fuck these kids.
except for Kirby, who we did not include in our returning survivors, but I'm only
Mm,
going to bring up because they do have a reference, a
yeah.
small little Easter egg that implies that Kirby is alive.
Yes, you're
Also,
good on that.
maybe implying that Stu might be alive, but we
Yeah, there is a little note on there on the little like side suggested YouTube videos.
right. But
Uh,
I think a lot of that's probably just more conspiracy. You never know. But hey, we'll
yeah.
find out. As we're kind of wrapping up the movie, everybody's being loaded in ambulances. You cut over to Sydney and Gail, who are just wearing blankets.
Hmm.
Mind you,
Gail
Gail's
was
been shot
shot.
in shot in
She
the
was
stomach.
fucking shot in the stomach. She's just chilling.
She's like, I'm fine. I don't know.
She's like, if
It's
that's
all so much of it's just all scar
scar
tissue.
tissue. Yeah.
You're
I'll
good.
just absorb the bullet. It's fine.
Yeah. So, yeah, I thought that was really good. And then she is you get a change of heart from Gail Weathers, who says, I'm not
Mm.
going to write about them. That's one thing I know I'm not going to do is not write about them.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to write about a lovely little former sheriff
Oh,
who's cute and loving.
Dewey.
Who's probably a very generous lover and probably asked a lot of questions and just wanted to just be supportive.
I bet.
Um, and the nice thing is I think you never know. Maybe this is a change of heart for Gail, and we're gonna hold her to that.
Yes. Yes, we will
So
hold her to that.
fuck, and then yeah, I mean that really
It.
wraps up our movie. That's the end of Scream 5.
Yeah.
Is there any details that we forgot before we hop into our final segments here?
I don't think so. I went through all my notes. I feel pretty good about it. Yeah.
I think so too. It's wonder is I went through I think all of my notes without actually referring to my notes. So I was like
Hmm.
always looking like, oh, I guess I did say all
Yeah.
these things I wanted to say.
Look at
Hey,
us.
that wraps it up. Um, as always, taglines.
All right. This one has three taglines
Okay.
and they're all fine.
I remember seeing one that was really good, but go ahead.
Okay. The first one is don't see it alone.
Okay, that one's like whatever. That's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, go see it. Yeah, they want you to make money. They want more,
Yeah,
more
they're like
money. So yeah,
bring a whole group.
yeah, bring the whole party. Go for it.
It's always someone you know.
I like that one.
I like that. I like that one. Have
Yeah.
we not used that before though? Am I
I
wrong?
don't think so.
In my archive of Scream taglines.
Yeah,
And the last one, which I think is the most fun, is the killer is on this poster.
that's the one I remember, and I think that
Yeah,
one's really funny.
I think that's really fun
Yeah,
because like it's like the whole ass cast on that poster. It's like 20
yeah,
people. So you're like, well, yeah, of course. Those are
and they are both on that
taglines.
poster. Yeah.
Yeah, they're both
Well,
on the poster.
when's the last time one of the killers was on the poster? Well, I guess Scream 4. I guess
And
Emma Roberts is on there.
and
And the first one with Billy.
the first one.
So I guess it's just two, three. Yeah, no, I guess it's two and three.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right, so there you go.
Yeah.
Let's talk about who you would replace for any of the killers.
Ooh.
Now, you can replace both, you can replace one, you just can't have like three killers,
Okay.
So who would you switch out?
I had two. Well, I'm not a huge Amber fan, I'll admit. So
Okay.
I like Richie. I would keep Richie.
Hmm.
Um, and initially, no, I'm gonna go with my a totally different choice than what I wrote down. I would choose Richie and Liv.
Okay.
And the motive would be the same. I think the motive is great. But I would just like to see more of Liv being like just unhinged and wild because I thought she was so fun in that scene on the couch. Whereas like Amber is just kind of like she's fine.
Yeah.
Like so that's who I would pick.
I would switch out Richie with Stu Macher.
He's not in the movie. I didn't think you
If
could
he's
pick
still
somebody who's
alive.
not in the movie.
Oh, okay. You're right. You're right. Okay.
That doesn't seem fair.
Then I'll back down from that.
Yeah, thank you.
Um, I don't think I have a good one then. Then in that case, I'm gonna say Martha Meeks. Um,
Wow. Why? What's
hey,
her motive?
she's the first one that comes out and accuses everyone of being suspects. Comes out and it's like, ooh, suspects. And she is the prime suspect. She's like, look, we need to fucking put this out because also I don't need my children being stalked and murdered, even though I guess her children were attacked in this situation. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. So Heather Matarazzo, because I want to see more of her.
Yeah. It would be fun to see her go a little nuts, you
I think it'd
know?
be pretty fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That could be fun. Okay.
Want
Okay.
to rank movies or killers? I think either one would be fun to do first.
Let's do movies. Let's do the movies first.
Okay.
Do you know yours?
Oh, Jesus.
You
Okay.
want your previous one to reference?
Yes, please.
Okay. So right now you have Scream 1, Scream 4,
1423.
1, 4, 2, 3.
Okay. I'm gonna slide this in between 2 and 3. So I go 1, 4, 2, 5, 3. That's my ranking right now. I think, but also again, when you say that this is the fourth best or the second worst Scream movie so far, there's still a very large gap
Yeah,
between the
I
fourth best
agree.
and Scream 3 being at the bottom. This is
Hmm.
still a very fun movie.
I agree.
Um, Maybe we should throw out our boo scores really quick first on this. I can be really quick with my boo score.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you
Yeah.
can you can go ahead. Go ahead.
Cool. I know I've been giving the shit 3.5s all the time lately, but I'm sorry. Here we are yet again. Y'all are just finding
Three and a
me,
half.
but 3.5. I think this movie is the most brutal in terms of a lot of the kills. I also
Mm-hmm.
think that this is the funniest Scream movie.
Really? I have to think about that.
I think it was the most maybe intentionally funny one, but there
Maybe.
are, I think, a lot of good jokes, even
Mm.
when I think of like even like Wes's death scene and that whole thing. Like that's a joke. Like like the way they play that for laughs rather than
Mm-hmm.
necessarily suspense, even though it works on both. But I think this movie really harnesses that best of both a little bit with it
Mm.
being a little more comedic and then also a little more just kind of just brutal and violent than the others too. So
Yeah.
yeah, 3.5 boos. I'll sit with that. So
Wow.
and
Okay.
that's my ranking. So what is your boo in your ranking?
I thought you were gonna go higher. Um, we're a little bit boring on the film rankings. It's the same. I also have it 1, 4, 2, 5, 3.
Okay.
Yeah. And then Boo Score. You know, I oh, I really love this movie too. And I went into it like after watching it, I was like, damn, that movie is really fun and I do really like it. And then as I was talking about it, I was like, damn, I feel like I'm talking a lot of shit on it, but I really do have a fun time watching it. And when I talk my shit on a Scream movie, know that it's not the same as talking about another movie. So again, for I feel like every single time I'm gonna go a little bit higher than you. I gave it a 4. 4 boos.
I love it.
I almost went down to 3.5 because of how negatively I was talking about it, but I really do enjoy this movie.
I love that. So now we've got killers.
Hmm.
Would you like me to go first?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think we are well, or
No,
maybe we
we
need to go
have
together because we both have Stu at number one, correct? Is that the same for
hmm
you?
correct.
All right, we both have Mrs. Loomis at number two. Is that the same for
Hmm.
you?
Yes.
Now we do change here because
Oh,
I've
we
got
swap them.
Billy. Billy is number three and Jill is number four, and you have that swapped.
Yeah, so I have Jill as number three and Billy as number four.
So we've got four more killers
Hmm.
to rank here, and I think this is where it's going to get a little messy.
Are you keeping your top four the same?
Yep.
Okay,
So
same.
we've got four killers at the bottom. I'm going to tell you my number five killer,
Okay.
Amber.
Wow, that's a hot take that I was
Yeah, it
not
is.
expecting.
And I switched it
I need
last
to know
minute
why.
because I mean, I think I like how she's pretty unhinged. I do like her at the end. I do like her method. Like all the most brutal kills are all her, you know?
Okay.
So I kind of love that. And yeah, I don't know. I like her energy. And again, I think she's a better killer than the other three that are going to be coming after her. Do
Oh, okay.
you want me to finish my list or do you want to say who your number five is?
No, I want to say my number five.
Go for it.
Mine is Richie.
Of course.
I already explained why. I think he's so much more interesting than Amber
Yeah, I
of a
understand that. I mean,
character.
you get more screen time with him.
Yeah, you get more screen time
He's
and
funnier,
he's
more
yeah, he's
endearing.
funny. Yeah, he does a good job at like playing I'm not the killer and like accusing other people and you know, you get to see his like weird starstruck moments and all of that. So I feel like you get to know Richie a little bit more and I like what I'm saying.
I hear that. That's why I've got him as my number six killer.
Okay.
You know, I like Richie. I think Richie and Amber, you could probably swap back and forth or whatever. I mean, but right now, I'm gonna give it to Amber, give her the
Okay.
edge, put Richie as number six. What do you got?
Mickey.
Oh, I fucking forgot about Mickey.
You
Fuck, I
forgot
don't have
about
him in my
Mickey?
list. Oh my God, I'm sorry. Here,
Kyle.
hold on. Hold on. Oh no, never mind. We can keep it the same. Don't worry, you're good.
Don't you dare edit this out. I want everyone to know that you fucked up.
Yeah, I forgot.
For all
Sorry.
the Mickey lovers out there.
Well, you fucking nodded yes when I said we have four more killers. No, we have five more killers, including Mickey. So I
You were
go
counting on me to count? Get out of here.
number five is Amber, number six is Richie, number seven for me is Mickey.
Okay, so Mickey's number seven. Got
Yep.
it. Okay. So for me, number seven is Amber.
Okay. So it looks
And
like our bottom
only because she has a much better death
than the
than
others.
Roman.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Number
Wait, who
eight
else is
for me.
left? Did I forget someone?
Oh, huh. Funny how that fucking happens sometimes. Huh. Yeah. So number eight, second to worst, I've got Charlie.
I
Um,
fucking forgot about Charlie. Oh
yeah,
no.
I won't fucking edit that either, you fucking jerk. Uh, so we've got so
well, no, I agree with where he's at though.
Charlie's my second to least just because, fuck him, that incel fucking weirdo. Get him, fuck him.
Yeah,
And
I think I agree with that. Yeah.
and then fucking last because he's the least.
Hmm.
Roman at the end. Sorry. So I will never forgive, nor will I ever forget.
No, I put Roman as the last as well.
Yeah.
Damn, we
So
both forgot someone. Ah, it's so much worse when I make fun of you for it and then it ends up kicking me in the ass.
how'd that feel? That moment where you just like had the superiority, thinking that
Just
you just
yanked from me.
yeah. Hmm.
It didn't feel great, I'll be honest. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I get for being
Dang.
mean.
So okay, so it gets a little messy at the end, but
Hmm.
our top two are still the same because that means it's just factual. The two best are Stu and Mrs. Loomis,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
I agree.
though you never know, we do
Obviously.
have Scream 6, and maybe there's a killer or multiple killers I don't know that will
We don't know.
just climb right up to the top of the ranks, and I'll be like, fuck, they nailed it. I
Yeah.
don't
At
know.
least we only have to wait 1 year.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So
great.
anything else you have to say on Scream 5 before we wrap up?
No, we did it. That's great. Only one more left. It's kind of sad.
I know, then kind of indefinitely. So we'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, really looking forward to seeing you all in June as we finish, our this Scream journey. Pretty exciting
Hmm.
shit. Glad you can all be here for it. Definitely, of course, now that we've shuffled up our rankings for the movies and the killers, love to hear y'all's thoughts. Post that shit,
Yeah.
let us know.
Yeah, I
So,
would love to see them.
okay. All right, Natalie, anything else?
Nope.
All
I'm
right.
good.
Fuck yeah. All right, everybody. Take care. Three, two, one. Ghost.
Thanks for listening to our episode on Scream 5. If you enjoyed this episode and have gotten this far into our Scream series and still haven't subscribed or left us a review, go ahead and do that now. We'd greatly appreciate it. You can give us a follow on Instagram at 321ghostpod to see what we have coming up in the future. You can also shoot us an email to 321ghostpod@gmail.com to share any questions, comments, or recommend a movie you'd like to hear us chat about. Next week, we'll be talking about the cult classic Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Thanks again for listening, and remember, no one prefers the Babadook. Sit down, Tara. 3, 2, 1, ghost.